The long off season is finally over. It is NFL opening day, and we're with you here on Next Man Up, 1025 The Game. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly with you, broadcasting live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. We've got a fun show planned for you, going to give all of our NFL predictions today. So we are going to go through standings, playoffs, awards, and as I always say when we make these predictions, if we're right, we will take a victory lap at the end of the year. If not, these never happen and no one will ever hear about them again.
Didn't even know what we're talking about. Exactly.
Glad to have Dr. Crane in today. I believe Nick and Connor will be in tomorrow because I'm heading over to Blacksburg tomorrow for the Virginia Tech Vanderbilt game. Going to work that game on Saturday, so I will be out tomorrow. But excited to have Dr. Crane in today. Again, we are going to give our full NFL predictions throughout the show. Speaking of Vanderbilt, Andrew Allegretta, the voice of Vanderbilt football, is going to join us at 11 a.m. for his weekly visit on the show. We will talk about that big game for the Commodores coming up on Saturday against Virginia Tech. But let's start with the game tonight. Cowboys and Eagles. You can listen right here on 1025 The Game. It's a fun one to start the season because you've got the Eagles, defending Super Bowl champs, obviously always open up the season. They might be the most complete roster in the league right now. And they're facing this Cowboys team that is coming off of kind of a devastating blow, trading away their best defensive player. We went through the stats last week of the expected points added per play. With Micah Parsons on the field, the Cowboys have had the best defense in the league over the last couple seasons. Without him, they've had the second worst defense in the league. So it's going to be an interesting game to see what this Cowboys team looks like without Micah Parsons, and can they compete with a team like the Eagles here in week one?
Yeah, I was looking at a lot of the injury reports, and yesterday Trayvon Diggs was listed as like available.
Yeah.
But he has that little nagging knee injury. So I don't know what's to really dictate with that Dallas secondary. I mean, I know it's only one player, but that's a key player for their defense if they don't have Micah Parsons.
Right. No Micah Parsons anymore with the Packers. And then you've got Trayvon Diggs and Deron Bland, who, I think you can ask the question of, are they actually good cornerbacks or are they interception artists? Like, there's a difference between a cornerback who can pick off a lot of passes and a good cornerback. Mm-hmm. Like Darrelle Revis, I don't know if he was intercepting 10 passes a year, but no one would throw at him because he was that good at covering a receiver. Marcus Peters is the opposite. It's like he'd have 12 picks a year, but he'd also give up 80-yard plays every other week. So it's a weird defense for this Cowboys team. They got a new head coach over there. Dak Prescott's healthy again. They bring in George Pickens. I'm really intrigued to see what the Cowboys look like tonight because, and we'll go through our predictions for the season throughout the show. I don't know. They're one of the biggest enigmas to me throughout the league. It's like, I think they have talent and they could end up being a playoff team, but also I could see things spiraling and them end up being like a 4 or 5 win team. It could be anywhere in between.
Yeah. I mean, with those 2 first-round picks, Dallas has this upcoming draft and next draft, that I could easily see them spiraling like you're talking about to like a 4-win thing. And you mentioned, just a bit ago about having those cornerback interception artist in some regard. The reason why it worked so well with Dallas is because they had a guy like Micah Parsons to compensate for that.
Right.
You don't have a guy like that to compensate for your interception artist. So normally that would kind of tend to lean in the interception category to go down. I mean,
it's a good point. The tips and overthrows are the best ways to get interceptions. And without Micah Parsons, your pass rush not going to be nearly as effective for the Cowboys. So going to be an intriguing game tonight. I think most people expect the Eagles to win by, the Eagles have the highest spread, I think, of any favorite this week. It's like 8.5. Mm-hmm. So the expectation is that the Eagles are going to win by 1 to 2 touchdowns. But, you never know. The Cowboys they have some high-powered offensive options. Like CeeDee Lamb, there's an argument he's probably the 3rd best receiver in the league behind Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. I know, was it us having the conversation about George Pickens? And it's like, if Mike Tomlin trades you a wide receiver, it's probably not, you probably don't want to take that deal. So I don't know what George Pickens is going to look like. Their running back room is really strange.
It's interesting.
There's nobody, like Javonte Williams got off to a great start with the Broncos, but then kind of fell off a cliff. I guess he's supposed to be the lead back there, but they've also got Miles Sanders in that room.
Jaden Blue.
Jaden Blue. Did they cut Deuce Vaughn, the little
Yeah.
scat back out of Kansas State?
Yes, he's gone.
Yeah, his dad was on staff for them, and I remember that was a big like draft thing last year.
Right. They showed the war room of like, how do you want to come work with me on Monday?
Well, not anymore. So yeah, I don't know. I when you're that size, it's very tough to
right. Unless
be
you're
productive.
Darren Sproles, it's like
Exactly.
you're probably going to have a tough time sticking around in the league. So I don't know what to expect tonight from the Cowboys. Again, I think they are one of the hardest teams to judge heading into the season because they've got a quarterback that I think is competent. I think he's top 15 easily quarterback in the league. You've got an elite wide receiver. They've made some they've got some pieces on the offensive line. They keep drafting offensive linemen early.
Mm-hmm.
Jake Ferguson's a good tight end, but that defense, taking Micah Parsons out is just such a major piece that I don't know. And you mentioned the extra first round picks. I would love to know what Jerry and Stephen Jones' plan is for the long term, or if they've even gotten that far. Like, are they planning on using those picks to build around Dak Prescott? Or is this kind of the make or break year for Dak? And it's like, hey, if they don't take a massive step forward this year, then they're going to try and cut their losses with Dak and use those picks to go get a quarterback.
I'm still leaning in that half glass full situation. Sure, their season may spiral down into, like we're talking earlier, a 4 or 5 win year. But if you look at it that way, that gives them the opportunity to capitalize on a high draft pick, still have that first round pick that's going to be Green Bay's more than likely going to be late 15s to 20s. So you have 2 first round picks there that are going to be, I'd say, fairly good. You'd be able to compensate from that. I think you could get a good offensive lineman early in that, and then maybe an edge rusher early in that round. I'm not trying to look too far into the draft, but I think they're landlocked with Dak Prescott going forward.
Yeah, let's take a look at Dak's contract, because I was having this conversation with Corey Curtis yesterday about these quarterbacks who they're not good enough to take you to the promised land.
Mhm.
Like these quarterbacks have not proven that they can get you to a Super Bowl, but they're also good enough that it's like, if we cut him, do we end up being horrible for the next 5 years? So Dak is 32 years old, and his contract, he's in the second year of this new extension, 4 years, $240 million.
Mhm.
There's not an out over the next couple years. They'd have to take $130 million dead cap hit. So I guess that ends the conversation. They are building around Dak Prescott, and maybe this is a situation where you do a Green Bay Packers, and maybe you use one of those first round picks to get a quarterback who can learn behind Dak for a couple of years. Now, Dak isn't the age Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers were when they made those picks. So I don't know how much Dak would get behind that, but maybe that's the plan of, hey, take a quarterback with one of these first round picks you've got and let him grow behind Dak. But again, like, you got to get Dak on board with that, I would hope.
Yeah, and I don't think Dak would be on board for that, just because he's still fairly young. I'd say 32 is still fairly young to be a quarterback in this league. I mean, obviously Rodgers and Kirk Cousins are up there in their late 30s, early 40s, but I think Dak's still a quality quarterback, but you're right. He only gets you to a certain point in that year. Like, every single time the Cowboys were good, they'd go to the NFC Championship game, get beat by the 49ers. Like, that's just their cap. That's their ceiling. So for Dak, maybe they can figure something out with him. I don't know.
I think Cowboys fans would just be happy getting back to the NFC Championship game for the first time in 30 plus years. I mean, Dak, and Weston Clarksville asks on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, he says, am I the only one that thinks Dak is overrated? I just don't think he's that good. I think they overpaid for him. Dak Prescott is like, Justin Herbert is on the Dak Prescott career trajectory, where it's like, man, the stats look good. He's going to win you some regular season games, but he gets to the playoffs and he lays an egg.
Yeah.
It's like, at some point you have to move on from that guy.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. The only thing that leaves me optimistic is at the end of that last year of Dak's deal, Dallas is going to have all those first round picks already situated. Like, in my opinion, I think Dallas is going to have 2 high first round picks, not in this year's draft, but next year's draft as well. I think they're going to be bad the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Which, in a roundabout way, sounds funky, but if you're the Cowboys and you owe Prescott this much money, might as well suck for 2 years and maybe get 2 high draft picks along with Green Bay's. So you're compensating 2 first round picks both years.
Yeah.
So then you're able to kind of build off that a little bit
Yeah. It's
and just say one last hurrah with Dak and then move on to your future.
the Cowboys, it doesn't feel like the timelines of everything matches up with how Jerry Jones is running the team, like signing CD and Dak to these big extensions and then trading away Micah Parsons. Yeah, it just makes you wonder what is the long-term plan for the Dallas Cowboys. We will see them for the first time in 2025 tonight, taking on the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles, that team, I mean, you look up and down that roster, and I know they lost a good amount on defense, but man, it's tough to find another roster that is as talented as the Eagles. But it is tough to go back to back. They're gonna have to stay healthy.
Mhm.
And when you do the tush push with Jalen Hurts, who knows? Maybe he ends up getting hurt. Saquon Barkley coming off a 2,000-yard season. Usually, the guys coming off 2,000-yard seasons don't have that type of production the next year. Obviously, no one's ever done it twice, but not close to that type of production. So we'll see. I think the Eagles. I think the Eagles win pretty comfortably tonight.
Yeah. You did mention a good point about the running back room. I mean, minus Saquon Barkley, they have Will Shipley and A.J. Dillon. So I like to see what the RB2, RB3 combo is like. I mean, obviously, Saquon can't play every down, but those guys are more than likely, when Saquon's not in the game, be pass blockers and or get your short yardage game for the most part.
A.J. Dillon can be your goal line back. Well, actually, they don't need a goal line back because they just do the tush push. But
yeah, but still, I just want to see what that's like.
What happened to A.J. Dillon? He's Quadzilla. That was his nickname.
Yeah,
and Saquon's the Quad Father, so they've got both of them.
Man, they got the quad family.
Yes,
that's
they do.
exactly what that is. No, I think A.J. Dillon kind of fell off after he left Green Bay, and just things didn't pan out for him. I know he had an injury, I believe, and so now he's with Eagles. I mean, I don't blame him. Go ring chase him.
Excited for the game tonight. Cowboys and Eagles kicking off the NFL season. We got games the next 2 nights. Chiefs and Chargers tomorrow from Brazil. You can listen to the game tonight right here on 102.5 The Game as the defending Super Bowl champs start off the year against the division rival Dallas Cowboys. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You can text or call. We are going to spend about half the show today on NFL predictions. It is opening day. This is the last day we can do it. So I had myself and Nick Frazier go through every game of the NFL season. I want to make that clear that we didn't just arbitrarily throw records out there and it doesn't add up to it's 272 and 272 or whatever it is. It adds up. And we've gone through, we've got our playoff teams. We went through the playoffs. We picked a Super Bowl champion. We picked awards. We're going to go through all of it over the next half of the show. Andrew Allegretta from Vanderbilt Football going to join us at 11 a.m. to preview the Commodores game against the Virginia Tech Hokies coming up on Saturday. Nick Frazier, Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly with you on this Thursday morning here on Next Man Up, 102.5 The Game. We are under 12 hours away from kicking off a new NFL season. All the records are 0-0, and we are set to make our predictions for the 2025 NFL season. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly with you here on Next Man Up 1025 The Game. So, yesterday, me and Nick Frazier, we went through and we picked every game in the NFL season. No free shout outs, but playoff predictors online. If you want to go make your own predictions, it makes it easy. You can pick all the games. It sorts out the standings for you. It sets the playoffs, all that kind of stuff. So we went through. We've got our standings. We've got our playoffs. I said we're going to pick awards too. So MVP, offensive, defensive player of the year, offensive rookie, defensive player or defensive rookie of the year. So we'll get to all that. We're going to start here with the AFC standings. Then we'll do the AFC playoffs. Then we'll do the same for the NFC. Pick our Super Bowl, and we'll see where we are at that point. Sound good?
Sounds great.
All right, let's start with the AFC. I will go through let's start with the AFC East. Okay. I think this one is a tough division to pick beyond Buffalo. I have Buffalo winning the division. I would guess you do too.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I got Buffalo at 14-3, which I was kind of surprised by, but I think they're a good team. I think they end up being the 1 seed in the AFC. Yeah. Surprisingly, I have the Patriots making the playoffs too.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that you go into this with your own like preset. This is what I think my playoff teams are going to end up being.
Right.
I had the Patriots at 10-7 because that schedule is really, really easy. It really is. I don't know if the Patriots are one of the 7 best teams in the AFC, but it worked out that they were 10-7. They are the 7 seed in the AFC. I have the Dolphins and Jets both going 5-12.
Yeah, we're like 1 game off. I have Dolphins and Jets going 4-13.
Oh, man. Yeah, not believers in Tua this year.
No. And you mentioned the Patriots, 13-4 for the Patriots.
You have the Patriots going 13-4.
I do. I looked at the game. I was like, wait a minute.
The Vrabel haters are going to be out in force today.
I love it. I love it. It just ain't right. But they're tied with the Bills in my division here at 13-4 apiece. Both 5-1 in the division, and they were the 7th best team. You mentioned, are they the 7th best team? For me, they are.
All right. So we both have the Bills and Patriots making the playoffs out of the AFC. The AFC North, this one, I think it was pretty cut and dry of the order. I didn't really know where the records would come out. I have the Ravens winning the division, 12-5. I have the Bengals also making the playoffs at 11-6. I believe in Joe Burrow, even though that defense isn't very good. They're not playing a great schedule this year. I think they can go 11-6. The Steelers are right where they should be at 9-8, and the Cleveland Browns 1-16.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably going to drop your jaw when I say this. I have the Bengals winning this division.
Oh, wow.
And it's at 4-1 for the division record, but overall I have them going 15-1.
Wow.
I know. I'm high on the Bengals this year. I really am. I like Joe Burrow. I like Chase Brown, the running back. He's a fantasy guy.
I like the Bengals too, but I feel like there are going to be some games where they give up 40 and they can't find a way to score 40.
I know it's bad optics, but that's where I have things right now. And then I have the Ravens following suit at 14-3, and then the Steelers at 13-3. I know that's a little odd, but yeah, that's how I have it.
Man, you've got a top heavy AFC where like half the league has 13 or more wins.
Yeah, I mean every other game was like against the Browns. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, win.
I mean, the Browns, outside of Myles Garrett, I have trouble finding a whole lot of redeeming quality. The corners are decent. Denzel Ward, they've got some players, but I think by about week 7, they're going to let one of those rookies play, and I don't think it's going to go very well. So I have them going 1-16. I did write down the draft order up to the Titans pick. I have the Browns with the number 1 overall pick next year. So I likely will be taking their quarterback of the future there. In the AFC West, this one was fun going through it because halfway through the season, it looked like the Chargers were going to run away with this division. But I guess the Chargers schedule gets a lot tougher later on. I have the Chiefs rolling back and winning the division again at 12-5. The Chargers make the playoffs as well at 11-6. The Broncos go 10-7. But they miss out on the playoffs with a tiebreaker with the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, same order, but again, roll your eyes, whatever you are listening. I have the Chiefs going 15-2, 5-1 in the division. But the rest of the way, I was like Chargers, like you're saying, their second half of their season kind of falls off a little bit. They go 9-8, 2-4 in the division, and then Broncos, then Raiders.
Okay. So yeah, we're in the same. I had the Raiders going 5-12. I think that's respectable for the Raiders this year.
7-10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not horrible, but not great. AFC South. I have the Texans winning the division. I have them going 11-6. And a lot of that is that I think they go 5-1 in the division. I don't know if the Texans are that good, but I have trouble picking. I think I had the Colts or the Jags upsetting them at home. Oh no, I had the Titans beating them in Nashville. Titans, Jaguars both go 6-11. Colts 4-13.
Yeah, I'm not too far off of that. I do have the Jags finishing at the bottom of the totem pole. I have them as one of the worst teams in the NFL at 1-16. I really don't know what to think of this team, honestly. Like, is Trevor Lawrence the guy? Is he not the guy? I understand they have weapons in Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr., but at the same time, you also have Travis Etienne in the background. Can that all mesh? And if it does, then they're going to have a better record than that. But as of right now, on paper, I can't say yes.
Yeah, I mean, the Jags, I think there's a scenario where everything kind of clicks for them and they end up being in the playoff race. But there were a lot of those toss-up games where I just felt like I couldn't pick the Jaguars.
Yeah.
So
I think the one game I gave them the win was overseas.
Okay. Yeah. I gave them one of those. Yeah. It's like they're playing at home over there in front of their British fans. So you had to give them that one. So my AFC playoff teams, I've got the Bills as the number 1 seed. The Ravens are the number 2, Chiefs 3, Texans 4. And then my wild card teams are Chargers, Bengals, Patriots.
Okay. Yeah. I have, let's see here, as a top 7, Bengals, Chiefs, Bills, Houston, Ravens, Steelers, and then Patriots. Yeah.
Okay. So we're
not too far.
We're kind of similar. I think the only difference is you have the Steelers in and I have the Chargers in. Is that?
That sounds
I think that's it. So we will go through the AFC playoff picture. The big question in the AFC is always, can somebody beat Patrick Mahomes? I will mention, and we'll go a little more in depth on our Titans predictions later on, but we both had the Titans not being all that close to the playoff picture.
Nah.
I am 6-11. You had them at 7-10. So right around there. I think they start off slow. I have them beating the Colts and Raiders in the first half of the year, and that's it. But towards the end, I have them heating up, beating the Texans at home, Jags at home, and then the Browns and the Saints. So I had a couple that were close. Like, could they beat the Jaguars on the road? Could they beat the Seahawks at home? Yeah, but I had 6 wins. I think it could be anywhere from like 4 to 8, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, I think after they play the Pats, I don't want to leak too much of that, but I think when they play the Pats and if they lose, like, I think that's where it all falls off.
Yeah, and I believe when they play the Patriots, they are 1-6 at that point in my prediction. So
Really?
I don't know how well that goes. Actually, no, they have 2 wins. They did beat the Raiders the week before. So
see, I have them at 4-3 going into the Patriots.
Really?
Yeah. I like their front end of their schedule. I think they can ride the momentum with Cam Ward early.
Do you have them beating either the Broncos or the Rams in week 1 or 2?
I have them beating the Broncos.
Wow.
Rams, they are
okay.
Yeah.
Nick Frazier high on the Titans this weekend.
Yeah.
I don't think it's impossible. I've said this before that, it's the NFL. Weirder things have happened, especially in week 1. Week 1 is always where you see an upset or two you're not expecting, but I just don't think it's a good matchup for a rookie quarterback. But I do think that Cam Ward comes on down the stretch. They end 6-11, but won 4 of their last 8. Maybe can take some momentum heading into next season. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. If you have predictions for the NFL season, we'd love to hear from you. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We have our AFC playoff teams. We will go through the AFC playoffs coming up next. This Saturday, MTSU Blue Raiders will take on Wisconsin. The kickoff is at 3 o'clock, and you can catch all of the action on Totally Hits 93.3. Coverage is also available on the Totally Hits Nashville app and at TotallyHitsNashville.com. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly, next man up here on 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Michigan takes on Oklahoma this Saturday at 6:30 in our college football game of the week on Sports Talk 830, presented by Twin Peaks Restaurants and Circa Sportsbook Kentucky. Coverage also available on the Game Nashville app and at theGameNashville.com. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly with you. We are giving our NFL predictions as it is NFL opening day. Cowboys and Eagles coming up later this evening. Do want to mention before we get back into our AFC predictions, the Broncos just signed their star edge rusher Nick Bonito to a 4-year deal worth up to $120 million. So,
holy cow.
Star pass rusher getting paid just before he faces the Titans. And with Dan Moore not practicing yesterday, who knows what the Titans tackle situation looks like. I will reserve judgment on that until we see today's injury report.
Yeah.
Back-to-back DNPs, you start to worry. But if he's back out there today, even in limited fashion, you would think they're ramping him up to be ready to go.
Yeah, I think today would be more like a walkthrough for him in a roundabout way.
Right.
I think those first 2 days of practice were solely just to get treatment.
Yes, you would think, and it's tough when ankle injury just pops up randomly. But that was the injury he had against Atlanta was like somebody kind of rolled up on his ankle.
Yes.
Maybe they're just managing that. Who knows? But a little bit concerning to see the DNP for Dan Moore yesterday. We'll see what the injury report looks like today. That'll come out this afternoon. And, if it is back-to-back do not practices for the Titans starting left tackle ahead of their number one pick quarterback's debut, probably won't feel great. But hopefully he's out on the field today. Let's get back into our NFL predictions. We are on the AFC right now. So we're going to do all the way until we have our Super Bowl participant of the AFC, and then we'll go to the NFC, do the same thing, and come back for our Super Bowl. So let's go through our AFC playoff picture. My playoff teams, Bills were the 1 seed, Ravens 2, Chiefs 3, Texans 4. My wild card teams, Chargers, Bengals, Patriots. So I'll go through here. I have pretty much chalk in the wild card round. I do have the Chargers upsetting the Texans this year. Last year, the Texans took it to LA. I think this year, the experience, Chargers finally get the monkey off their back. Justin Herbert wins a playoff game. They move on. But I do have the Chiefs and Ravens both winning at home. Chiefs beat the Bengals in what could be one of the better wild card games we've had in a while. Mahomes versus Burrow in the wild card round. I have the Chiefs winning. Ravens beat the Patriots in Baltimore. In the divisional round, I have the Bills beating the Chargers. Bills go back to the AFC Championship game. This is where it gets tough for me because I said it with Corey yesterday. I don't know if I can pick against the Chiefs until somebody proves they can beat them. And it's like, at this point, I'm down to the 3 quarterbacks, Mahomes, Jackson, Allen. Can somebody beat Mahomes? Again, until I see it, I'm not going to pick it. Chiefs beat the Ravens and then beat the Bills in the AFC Championship game. And Mahomes goes back to the Super Bowl.
Wow. I mean, it's just like pure poetry every single year for them.
I think honestly, this might be me trying to reverse jinx it at this point, and they are getting to the point of the Brady Patriots where it's like, please, I just want to watch a Super Bowl that they're not in.
Yes,
please. And maybe I'm trying to just like reverse jinx it. Yeah, they're going to win again. They're going to go to the Super Bowl. I've got the Chiefs beating the Bills in the AFC Championship.
Wow. I have something similar, not too far off. I have as the 7 seed, obviously the Patriots going up against the Chiefs as a 2 seed. 6 seed would be Steelers versus the Bills, and then 5 and a 4 would be the Ravens versus Houston. So in that first wild card round, I have the Baltimore Ravens upsetting Houston, and then Steelers going down. I mean, I think Rodgers, we talked about earlier with Dak having that ceiling. I think we're seeing that ceiling with Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in his career, if it's him against one of these star quarterbacks, I don't know if I can take him.
Yeah, and Josh Allen, how can you go against him? Come on now. The guy won in the offseason. Now he's winning on the field.
Yeah.
So, yeah, going with Josh Allen there, and then the Chiefs kind of steamroll Patriots. And I look at it as a good perspective for the Patriots. You get to the playoffs in your first year under Mike Vrabel. So,
right.
It's a big thing to build off
I
of.
think Patriots fans would take that. I know that their expectations are high because of the dynasty, but like after the last couple of seasons, I think just getting back to the playoffs would be a win. So into your divisional round,
oh boy,
your 15-win Bengals got the bye.
Yeah, I need to stop doing stuff, some people say. I don't know. 5 versus 1 there would be Baltimore versus the Bengals. I got Baltimore upsetting Cincinnati.
Wow.
At home. Yeah,
so the 15-win Bengals, they
Fall
get a
short.
taste of their own medicine, get beat at home in the divisional round.
Indeed. Yeah, I think Lamar Jackson's legit this year. Obviously, he had that little hiccup in the preseason with his little, hand injury in practice?
Something like that.
Something like that. I think he's the real deal this year. I'm expecting a lot out of him, not fantasy-wise, but just in general. I mean, his whole quote coming from the draft, I think he said to Dion on NFL Network, they're going to get a Super Bowl out of me. Like, I think that's coming.
He's got to do it at some point, right? Like,
Yeah.
and Lamar, I think he's getting close to like surefire Hall of Famer. When you're a 2-time MVP and you've done all this statistically significant stuff that no one has ever done before as a running quarterback, I think he's getting close to a Hall of Fame lock. But the legacy of Lamar Jackson is a whole lot different if he finally wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and maybe it's this year.
Maybe
it
it is.
Well, just continuing. I also have the Chiefs going back as well to the AFC Championship game just because they seem to have the Bills' number in the playoffs.
I don't know what it is. Like every year, Josh Allen beats Patrick Mahomes in the regular season, and you start to think like maybe this is the year they can get it done. But it gets down to those final 4 minutes in a playoff game, and there's some voodoo magic going on with Patrick Mahomes, whether it's like he gets a flag that comes out of nowhere, late hit or roughing the passer, or he just makes a ridiculous play on 3rd and 12 to move the chains. It's something always happens that lets the Chiefs beat the Bills. And until I see Josh Allen walking off the field with the confetti falling, I don't know if I can pick it.
For me, looking at this whole Chiefs dynasty, it just blows my mind why Tyreek Hill would ever leave that place.
Yeah, I mean, we both have the Dolphins with 5 or less wins this year. Like, I think Tyreek Hill has lost a step, and Tua, this might be the final year of Tua as a Dolphin.
Yeah, that's very fair. I just think that team is just falling off the rails. Sure, they have good pieces here and there. Darren Waller comes out of retirement. They get him. What good does that do? I think
who knows?
Mike McDaniel's definitely on the hot seat.
Yeah.
There's something going on maybe this upcoming offseason. But in the AFC Championship game, I have the Chiefs going back to.
Wow, so we're both on Mahomes. Like I struggle. I don't want the Chiefs back there. Like I think America's Super Bowl has the Bills in it. Like if you could pick a Super Bowl, you want to see the Buffalo Bills, who that fan base has gone through so much. I mean, 4 straight Super Bowl losses. And then going 20 years without making the playoffs. And now you finally get back, but you're always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Like, you just can't get over the hump. I would love to see the Buffalo Bills finally beat Mahomes and the Chiefs and get to Super Bowl. But it's like, history has told us that just doesn't happen in January.
Yeah, it just doesn't. It's Mahomes' season. Once it's the playoffs, the Chiefs are just a different team. They really are.
So Nick Frazier and I both have the Chiefs going back to the AFC Championship. Parker, do you have any notes on that? Like, do you think it's fair to pick anybody but Kansas City in the AFC?
Until they get beat, I'm with you. Because they've been to 5 straight. So until they don't go to another AFC Championship, I'm going to have a hard time not picking them.
Well, how many years have they been in the AFC Championship at the very least? It's been every year since Mahomes has been in the league, right?
Yes, I believe so. Outside of his first year when they had Alex Smith starting.
Right, yeah. That's when the Titans beat the Chiefs in the wild card round when Marcus threw the pass to himself.
Yeah,
but since Mahomes starting, he lost to Brady his first year, then beat the Titans his second year, lost to Burrow his third year, and then he's been to 3 straight Super Bowls since then or something like that. So, so Patrick Mahomes, until he proves that he can be beat, we're both taking him. So we both have the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. We're going through our full NFL predictions on NFL opening day for 2025. Time to get to the NFC after this. We will go through all the standings, the playoffs, and see who meets Kansas City in Super Bowl 60 for both of us coming up on the other side. Today on ESPN 94.9 The Fan, the Nashville Sounds take on Norfolk with first pitch coming up in just over an hour at 11:05 a.m. Coverage is also available on the Game Nashville app and at thegamenashville.com. Sounds baseball on ESPN 94.9 The Fan is presented by Twin Peaks and Family Leisure. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 1025 The Game. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly with you on this NFL opener Thursday. Tonight, Cowboys Eagles starts off the 2025 NFL season, so it's only fitting that we give our full NFL predictions today. We just went through the AFC. Nick and I, both have the Chiefs going back to the Super Bowl. Connor. Nick has them beating the Ravens. Nothing too out of the blue there. That's what it's been, and I think it's safe to assume that's probably what it's going to continue to be until another quarterback gets to the level of those three guys. So let's move on to the NFC. This one is a little more wide open to me. The Eagles, we talked about it earlier when we previewed tonight's game, that is the team to beat. And I'll start with the NFC East. I have the Eagles as the number 1 seed going 14-3. I think they get off to maybe a little bit of a slow start, but I think they come on down the stretch. This is barring they stay healthy, because we've seen the best roster in football. Like, I've thought the 49ers have had the best roster in football for the last 3 or 4 years before this, and they just can't stay healthy. See what the Eagles can do, but I do have them going 14-3. The Commanders, this was the toughest one for me. I have them going 10-7. But they missed the playoffs.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. I think it's a good year, but this is what happened with the Texans last year. CJ Stroud was talked about like he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, and they regressed a little bit, and they went 10-7. I think it's a good year for the Commanders. I don't think it's as good as last year. I have them missing the playoffs on a tiebreaker at 10-7. Cowboys go 7-10. Giants 3-14.
Interesting. Yeah, people are going to just tell me to stay off the gummies because at the top of my overall in the NFC, I have the 49ers. I just on paper, I think if they stay healthy, like you're talking about, I think they go 14-3.
I'm kind of with you. I'll get to the 49ers next. Their schedule is a cakewalk.
If Brandon Ayuk comes back healthy and just stays healthy, I think that team could be good. And you also have Pearsall out there as a wideout. I mean, we'll see what Christian McCaffrey does. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, let's see if his Achilles holds up for another season.
Yeah.
But that team's still pretty good. Brock Purdy, George Kittle.
They're a good team. They're not a great team. But I just look at the schedule, and I'm looking at the games that I would say, all right, that's probably a loss. At the Rams, I think. But SoFi Stadium is 90% red when they go play there. So you maybe not even count that. At the Buccaneers, I think that's a tough game for them.
Yep.
At the Texans could be tough. But outside of that, there's not a lot of games you look at on here and say, man, that's going to be a tough one for the Niners to win. Like, they play the AFC South. So you're playing the Colts, the Titans, and the Jaguars. They play the Browns as their extra AFC game. They play the Panthers. They play the Giants. They play the Saints. It's like, if you could have handpicked an easy schedule this year, I think you give it to the 49ers. I have them going 12-5.
Yeah, and also, too, Kyle Shanahan's he's a good play caller, but he's also a great game manager when it comes to making those play calls. And I think when you have a guy like Brock Purdy, who's I guess you could call him typical system quarterback for the most part, but he can improvise in some aspects, that's a team, like, you don't have to be over the top great. You just have to be good, like you're talking about. Just be good, and you have a really good play calling. That's what makes a great team.
NFC East, do you have the Eagles winning?
I do, yes. Eagles, I do have them as the 5 seed, though.
So they...
I'm sorry, no, I'm looking at it right now. They're tied with Washington.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep. So I have Washington finishing over the top of them, then the Eagles. And
gotcha.
Dallas at 5-12.
Wow, 5-12 for the Cowboys.
That's what I told you earlier to start the show.
I said I think they could. I went more moderate. I said they go 7-10, but it wouldn't surprise me if things bottom. Especially Dak Prescott hasn't proven he can stay healthy. If he goes down, is Joe Milton their backup?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know how good I feel
because I don't think Cooper Rush is on the team anymore.
Yeah, he's on the Ravens now, I think, or at least he was during the preseason.
You're not confident in Bazooka Joe?
I'm confident that he can throw the ball a long way. I'm not confident where it's going to end up, though.
I'm confident he'll sell tickets for Jerry. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I mean, it would be exciting at the very least. So you have both the Eagles and Commanders making the playoffs.
Yes.
You mentioned the 49ers. You have 14-3. I have them 12-5, winning the NFC West. But again, I don't think they're a better team than the Rams. I just think their schedule works out easier because they're playing a third or a fourth place schedule. They're playing a fourth place schedule.
Yeah.
So I think they go 12-5. I think the Rams go 11-6, still make the playoffs. Cardinals 8-9, Seahawks 7-10.
Okay, I'm not too far off with the Rams. I have them at 10-7, finishing 4-2 in their division. Let's see, what else do I have here? I have Seahawks at the 6th seed, so they.
Oh, you have the Seahawks getting in.
Yeah, I have them squeaking in. Well, not really squeaking in, but 11-6.
Wow,
I know I'm kind of.
You're high on Sam Darnold.
I am. I'm high on Sam Darnold because they have Cooper Kupp that I feel like a lot of people have written off just being that wide receiver 2 behind Jackson Smith and Jigba, who I think this is the year for him to take off.
I think JSN is so good.
Yes.
And I've said it before. I like Peter Skoronski, but man, I would have loved to take Jackson Smith and Jigba with that pick.
He's just crafty, man.
Yep.
He's a crafty wide receiver. And when you add all that, I mean, they just drafted Elijah Arroyo as well. They have AJ Barner as their other tight end.
Yeah.
I think AJ Barner, I think
they got 2 good running backs too with Walker and Charbonnet.
Yep.
So
they have the tools. They really do.
So you're the biggest Kyler Murray fan I know. You have them finishing last?
I do. At 5-12, I listened to the press conference yesterday in Arizona about how, after from year 1 to year 2, we're clicking on all cylinders. This is going to be a good year for us. I get all that, but you have an aging running back in James Conner. Like, I'm not too sure how much more you can get out of him.
Yeah.
He's a serviceable back. Don't get me wrong. But is he enough to get you over the hump to make the playoffs? And I don't think so. And nonetheless, that defense is shaky as well. They have a really good tight end in Trey McBride. Hopefully he scores a touchdown this year. They're trying to get him that.
Yeah.
I don't know. You could call me a West Coast fan for the Cardinals. I don't know. But I just don't think they get it done this year.
All right. So you got 49ers and Seahawks both made the playoffs. Do you have the Rams in, or did they just miss out? Okay.
I do. They squeaked in.
So you got 3 out of the NFC West.
Yep.
NFC North. This was my closest division from top to bottom. I have all 4 teams separated by 4 games.
Ooh.
I have the Lions winning it.
Okay.
I do. I think the Lions take a step back. You don't win 15 games in the NFL very easily unless you're the Cincinnati Bengals, according to Nick Frazier.
Yeah.
The Lions go 12-5. Packers 11-6. They get into the playoffs as well. And then I have the Bears at 9-8. The Vikings at 8-9. I think they're all kind of close, but I think the Lions and Packers are a slight edge above the other 2.
Wow. You're going to look at me and take a double take. I do have the Lions in winning that division at 11-6. And then right behind it, it's 9-8, 9-8, 4-13.
Who do you have 4-13?
The Vikings.
Okay,
Yeah.
wow.
I'm not high on the Vikings at all.
Jamie Erdahl on Good Morning Football just picked them to win the Super Bowl.
I don't know what that dude's got to lay off the gummies.
I mean, yeah, JJ McCarthy to win the Super Bowl in his first season.
I'm just not high on JJ McCarthy. Like, I get, Kevin O'Connell likes to develop quarterbacks, but come on.
I think he'll be fine, but like they won 14 games with Darnold last year. I think they take a significant step back. I've got them going 8-9. They finished last in the division, but like I think they'll be in the hunt in December.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we both have the Lions and Packers getting in. I have them
missing.
You had the Packers and Bears both 9-8.
Yep. And I had basically Bears were the 8 seed, 9 seed, both missing out of there for the ranking.
Gotcha.
And the reason why I have the Packers at that finishing at 9-8, I really don't know what to think of Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
Because the whole epidural thing,
yeah.
like, don't get me wrong. Micah Parsons, great player. Green Bay has always been a great team. They're to me, they're like the Steelers 2.0. They always have a really good defense every single year. They can always put out a good offense. They have Matthew Golden this year.
Yeah.
So I just think it's a building year for them.
All
First year under a lot of new stuff. We'll see what happens.
All right. So you've just got the Lions coming out of the NFC North. Last division here, NFC South. I have the Bucs winning it again at 11-6. Falcons right behind at 10-7. They take the last wild card spot in that tiebreaker with the Commanders. Panthers 6-11, respectable season. And then the Saints, honestly, they won more games than I was expecting. I had them at 2-15.
So we have 2 teams that are on the money for that. Yeah, I have the Bucs winning that division at 11-6. They go 6-0 in the division. That's what I have.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy. Again, that's one of those teams that you look at their schedule and like, yeah, they got a pretty much of a cakewalk.
Right. I mean, you get to play the Panthers and Saints twice.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, holy cow. Maybe the Bucs are pretty good because they got Amir Ibuka from Ohio State, another good young wide receiver.
Yep.
You don't know what you're going to have in Chris Godwin. Maybe Godwin comes back fully healthy with that ankle reconstruction. Yep. And obviously Mike Evans, the true consummate pro. I mean, this guy always has 1,000 yards every year. So,
he finds a way.
Yeah. And they have that 2 running back tandem with Bucky Irving and Rashad White.
Yep.
So,
no, it's a good team. Baker Mayfield has turned into kind of your perfect distributor point guard out there. So I've got the Bucs winning. Do you have the Falcons
missing out?
8-9. 8-9.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it's a productive year.
Yeah, with basically a rookie quarterback. He played last year, but it's like Will Levis last year, where you saw some flashes. Now can he build on it? We'll see what the Falcons can do. So my playoff teams in the NFC, the Eagles are the 1 seed, Lions 2, 49ers 3, Bucks 4, and then my wild card teams, Rams, Packers, Falcons.
Okay. Yeah, I have 49ers at the 1 seed, Commanders at 2, Detroit at 3, Tampa at 4, and then 5, 6, and 7 would be Eagles, Seahawks, and Rams.
There we go. Viking Matt on our text line has chimed in.
Oh, boy.
Our text line driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. He says, you two are insane. Skull, Viking Matt.
Well,
I agree. 4-13 is a little low, Viking Matt, but who's more insane? Nick Frazier for picking them to go 4-13 or Jamie Erdahl on Good Morning Football for picking them to win the Super Bowl?
Come on, Viking Matt. I'm going to tell you right now, I did this out of love, not out of spite.
By the way, her prediction had them over the Broncos too. So I wonder what the odds would be on a JJ McCarthy Bo Nix Super Bowl this year. I would guess very, very low. 6-1.
That has to be at the bottom of the totem pole, right?
I mean, they're both good teams. They both are. The Broncos have a great defense, but going through the playoffs, if Bo Nix has to face Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes to get through the AFC playoffs, and JJ McCarthy has to face Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay, and then Jalen Hurts and who else? Like, I can't see them getting through 3 weeks of that. So anyway,
it's another aging team, by the way, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Hawkinson's getting up there. Aaron Jones getting up there.
They do. I mean, they have arguably the best wide receiver in the league. They've got Jordan Addison, who'll be back after 3 weeks. The defense is good. Brian Flores is a great defensive coordinator. Kevin O'Connell is a great head coach. 4-13, I think, is a stretch.
I know. I'm getting torched right now.
I had them at 8-9. I think they're going to be in that range of like 7 to 10 wins. And could they make the playoffs? I wouldn't completely say no. I don't have them in the playoffs, though. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. If you want to chime in, our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. So we have our NFC playoff teams now. We will go through the playoffs coming up next and see who will meet the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. That's up next as we start hour number 2 here on Next Man Up, 102.5 The Game. Second hour, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly with you, broadcasting live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. We are going through our NFL predictions for the 2025 season as the new year opens up tonight. Eagles and Cowboys. You can listen right here on 102.5 The Game. Also, about an hour from now, Andrew Allegretta from Vanderbilt Football going to join us as the Commodores head out to Blacksburg. I will be out there helping Andrew with the broadcast as Vandy, big game, can get to 2-0 with a road win. But Virginia Tech going to be looking for some revenge after last year's Vandy win here in Nashville. So excited to talk to Andrew for his weekly visit coming up at 11. But let's get back into our NFL predictions here. Just to recap, we went through the AFC side, all the playoffs. Nick and I, to keep it simple, we both have the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl, beating one of the other elite quarterbacks in the AFC Championship. I have them beating the Bills. Nick has them beating the Ravens. The NFC, we have our playoff team set. Time to go through and see who is going to meet Kansas City in the Super Bowl. So I actually have a couple upsets in my wild card round. I have the 49ers. I said that they got in at 12-5, won the division because of their easy schedule. I think they run out of luck in the wild card round. I think the Packers beat the 49ers. I think Micah Parsons can be the little bump that pushes them over the edge. They beat San Francisco. I also have the Rams beating the Buccaneers. So back-to-back years, the Bucs win the division, lose at home in the wild card round. I have the Lions beating the Falcons. So 2 upsets in the wild card round. In the divisional round, the Lions beat the Rams. Another rematch, Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff. They go at it again. I feel like, is that the second or third time we've seen that in the playoffs now?
Yeah.
So
it's almost like a Christmas gift every single year.
I think Jared Goff gets the win again, and he goes back to the NFC Championship for the second time in 3 years. He will face his division rival, the Green Bay Packers, who upset the Philadelphia Eagles in Philly in the divisional round.
Wow.
Lions, Packers in the NFC Championship, and the Detroit Lions go to the Super Bowl.
Really?
For the first time.
Wow. I like the Lions, but I don't know if I like them that much.
I feel like they got so unlucky with injuries last year. The coordinator thing does scare me a little bit with Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson gone. You got to replace those guys. And that is a bigger deal than a lot of people make it out to be. They lost some talent on defense, but I just think the talent is, you got Jahmyr Gibbs, you got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Sam Laporta. You've got the talent around Jared Goff. And then on defense, if Aiden Hutchinson didn't get hurt last year, he might have been the defensive player of the year.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I think they get hot down the stretch. I think the Lions meet the Chiefs in Super Bowl 60.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm a little bit shakier on this one. I mean, first round, I got the Eagles upsetting Tampa at home because that's a 5-4 matchup. Second one I have is obviously Seattle gets there, but they run out of steam. Lions take care of business in that. And then I have the Rams taking on the Commanders in Washington. Oh, boy. I do have the Commanders winning.
There you go.
That was something that I was like, you know what? It's going to be cold. Stafford doesn't play well in cold games. So I had to lean towards the home team.
That would be a fun playoff game.
Wouldn't it?
Sean McVay and the Rams on the road in Washington. That would be the Commanders' first home playoff game in – oh, wait, actually, they hosted a playoff game against Tom Brady a couple years ago. I forgot about that.
Really?
They won the division at like 8-8. And the year Brady won the Super Bowl, Taylor Heineke had them on the ropes there for a little bit.
I forgot about
in Washington. So I guess it wouldn't be that long ago, but still would be a really fun game.
Yeah. And so the next round, let's see. Oh, boy. Yeah. We have Commanders versus Detroit. I did take the Commanders beating the Detroit Lions.
Wow. Back-to-back years.
Yeah. Yeah. People are going to hate me for that. But okay.
Lions fans would be devastated.
Yeah.
Back-to-back years losing to Jaden Daniels.
And you mentioned earlier about the 49ers schedule being kind of a cakewalk for the most part. They go up against the Eagles in my little bracket here.
Yeah.
And I just think the Eagles are a more complete team. What we've mentioned it. Their roster head to toe is by far one of the best, if not the best in the NFL. And, 49ers are getting up there in the age. And I just think, like you said earlier, it's like Cowboys. They hit a certain cap.
Yeah.
And they're done. So
you got a rematch, Eagles Commanders.
Yeah, I do. And
You had to meet the Lions.
Yep. And so to wrap up, I have the Commanders going to the Super Bowl.
Wow.
I know. I just love the underdog story, but there's something special about this Commanders team. There really is. I mean, you move off of Brian Robinson. Now you have that James
Bill.
Krosky, Merritt, Bill. You have what's Chris Rodriguez,
Yeah.
Austin Eckler. It's a running back by committee, but yet they made a statement. I was reading about it. Not the team, but just the statement overall, how they want their team to be. Downhill runners, aggressive, just attack your defenders or opposing team at the nose. I just think it's incredible. It's a culture statement. It's what this team needs. Plus, Jaden Daniels leading the helm. This team is very special.
And Dan Quinn is a really good head coach. His legacy as of right now is still going to be 28-3. That is a tough stain to get off your resume when you were that close to a Super Bowl and you blew it. And once that happened, the first sign of trouble in Atlanta, he was going to be gone. But he was an awesome defensive coordinator with the Cowboys. He came in, he turned the Commanders around in 1 year. It wouldn't shock me. I think they're going to take a step back. I think some of the big additions they made, like Laramie Tunsil is good. It's a good left tackle to bring in. But is he the same Laramie Tunsil we saw 4 years ago? The elite left tackle.
Yeah.
And Deebo Samuel, he was horrible last year. And I think I've seen he's lost some weight and maybe trying to get back into,
Does he have one of those shaping mirrors? Is that what that is?
the skinny mirror.
Yeah, the skinny mirror.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how much weight he's lost. It must have been by ounces.
He looked really bad last year.
Yeah.
Tanner McLaurin's still a really good player. Zach Ertz is a reliable tight end. I think they're going to be good. I have them 10-7. I don't have them making a run again this year. But you got them
I do.
all the way
I do.
to the Super Bowl.
I do.
All right, so you've got Chiefs Commanders.
Yes.
I've got Chiefs Lions in the Super Bowl. Who is going to win the Super Bowl? We will get to that next. Skylar on our text line commenting on your predictions, Nick.
Yeah.
He goes, the Vikings going 4-13, and now the Commanders going to the Super Bowl. I love it, but what the hell?
Yeah, I know, Skylar. It's I don't know how else to describe it, but Dr. Crane has things going on in his cranium
And
that are just all over the place.
You know what? We can laugh about some of these predictions here and there for me and for you.
Yeah.
But nobody knows. Nobody knows because it's the NFL. And every single week there's a game that surprises you. So we'll see. But I've got Chiefs Lions. Nick's got Chiefs Commanders. Who hoists the Lombardi Trophy in Super Bowl 60? Where is it? Levi Stadium this year?
I believe so.
I think it's in San Francisco.
Yeah, because Taylor Swift did her whole tease of her album. Yeah.
Right. So who will be hoisting the trophy? Will Taylor Swift perform at halftime and Travis Kelce gets his next ring after the game? Or will they get upset by either the Lions or the Commanders? We will give our Super Bowl predictions coming up next, along with our award winners in the NFL. We will do that coming up after this. Make sure to tune in if you're out watching the NFL games this Sunday. Come out to Twin Peaks in Madison. Big Joe and Chris Sanders will be hosting the game's pregame show from 1 to 3 p.m. prior to the Titans season opener versus the Broncos. Pregame show is brought to you by Parman Tractor and Equipment, Old National Bank, Circa Sportsbook, Kentucky, and Tennessee Brewworks. The words were not wording there for a second. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. We'll be hearing this music tonight. Game's on NBC, right?
It is.
Cowboys Eagles
Mike
opening up the
Tirico.
season. Excited for that one. You can listen to it right here on 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly, next man up 102.5 The Game. We have gotten to the Super Bowl of our NFL predictions. 5496 clearly likes what we've come up with on our text line. He goes, I've been drinking since 7 a.m. and I think you two beat me to it.
You're welcome.
First off, props to the texter.
Yeah.
I want to know what you're celebrating that had you start drinking at 7 a.m. Or also, I hope you're okay. One or the other.
Yeah,
one or the other.
Is
You're,
today like a national holiday or
well,
something?
it's either he's celebrating something or maybe we need to get him some help. But if you're celebrating something as we hope, congratulations.
Yes.
And have a nice day. I mean, again, it's the NFL. You can't really tell what's going to happen until they put the ball down.
Right.
I have Chiefs Lions in the Super Bowl. You have Chiefs Commanders. The Commanders, now again, they were one game away from the Super Bowl last year. So I don't think it's that crazy. Your Vikings 4-13 record is what's getting a lot of people worked up.
Yeah. That's okay. Understandable.
It happens.
I'm just not high on the Vikings. I'm sorry.
And I want to preface this with the playoff predictors website we used. It's easy to just get into the habit of like, I don't like this team. I'm going to pick against them. And it's like you look up and they're 3-9, even though that maybe isn't what they actually are, like their talent level.
Did I have possibility of going back in a couple of weeks and say, you know what, I'm going to switch this game? Sure. Did I? No.
Yeah.
Because I like to stay true to who I am. Pick it one time and call it a day.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. All right. Super Bowl. I've got Chiefs and Lions. Patrick Mahomes, this would be what, his 4th Super Bowl?
Yes.
Yeah, because he beat the 49ers twice and the
Eagles once.
Eagles once. Yes. Yeah. So he won those 3. He's lost to the Buccaneers and the Eagles. I think he wins this one. And I think he sends, I think it's the perfect storybook ending that the NFL wants desperately. Taylor Swift performs at halftime. Travis Kelce wins the Super Bowl and he retires at the end of the year. I think that's how it ends. I feel bad for the Lions fans, but at least the Lions get there this time. I've got the Chiefs over the Lions in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think Jaden Daniels puts up a big fight, but not big enough. I think it's at halftime we start to see Washington kind of dwindle off.
Wow.
And Chiefs take care of business. The real question is, you mentioned, Kelce, Swift, all that right off in the sunset. What about Andy Reid?
I think if he wins another one, he's done.
You think so?
How
Because
old?
then-
He's got to be 75 at this point.
Because that just leaves Mahomes.
Oh no, he's only 67. Okay, not quite as bad.
Yeah.
But I still think he may be at the point of his career where, yeah, maybe he's got 3 or 4 more seasons left in him.
Mhm.
But I think if he wins one more, I think he wants to go out on top.
I could see that. My only issue is I get Patrick Mahomes is a really good player, but let's not forget what got him to all this great success. That's Andy Reid. The play calling has been top notch every single time Mahomes has been on the field. Nonetheless, when he's not been on the field, the backup quarterback's been pretty serviceable. I think the backup quarterback for him now is what, Carson Wentz?
No, Wentz is gone. It is.
I know they have Gardner Minshew there.
Wentz just signed with the Vikings because they
Yes.
they traded away Sam Howell and brought in Carson Wentz. It is Gardner Minshew.
Wow.
Gardner Minshew is his backup. Not a horrible backup.
No.
And we have seen in the playoffs that Patrick Mahomes, hey, he's gotten hurt. He had the high ankle sprain a couple years ago. You do have to count on those backups every once in a while. Gardner Minshew, not a bad option.
No, I like Minshew Mania. He's a Mike Leach disciple quarterback.
There you go.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just still curious about Andy Reid if it might be his last year because I just think him and Mahomes together make a great duo. Just
Yeah.
play calling and Mahomes executing on the play calling, the creativity in practices. I don't know. It's just something to keep your eye on going into the season.
And Matt Nagy's their OC there. I wouldn't be shocked if, like, end of the year they win, Andy Reid retires and promotes Matt Nagy back to head coach. People forget, like, I know it ended really poorly with the Bears.
Yeah.
But he had them rolling for a little bit there. It was the double doink that really crushed their momentum.
Cairo Santos, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Huh.
or no, it wasn't. Was it Cairo? Yeah, it was Cairo. I think
for
so.
the Bears.
Yeah, the Bears.
Cody
Parkey.
Yeah, it was Cody
Cody
Parkey.
Parkey,
I knew
yeah.
it was one of the rejects the Titans brought in over the 3 years where they couldn't find a kicker. I was like, I know they played for the Titans. Cairo Santos went to the Bears and has actually figured it out. That's
Yeah,
what it is.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe that's the succession plan there. Kind of like with Bruce Arians and Todd Bowles of like,
Yeah.
he doesn't want to hand it off unless he knows his guy is going to take over.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we'll see. But we both have the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. We didn't coordinate. So, wanted these to be our real predictions. Let's get some awards here. MVP, this one was tough for me. There were a couple of good options here, but I had the Bills going 14-3, and I'm like, all right, if they go 14-3 and Josh Allen puts up good numbers, similar numbers to last year with the weapons he has around him, I think it's Josh Allen again.
I'm leaning the other way
Lamar?
off of my. Oh, not Lamar. I say Joe Burrow.
Oh,
'cause
right.
I
Yeah,
had
they win 15 games. Yeah, I forgot
if
about
they
that.
go 15-1, it has to be Joe Burrow, right? And so I think for the offensive player of the year, though, I do have Lamar as that offensive
Yeah.
player.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. I wonder if that's ever happened before where one quarterback wins MVP and another wins offensive player of the year.
I think it'd be possible, right?
Yeah. Yeah. If it's close.
I just think it's a running back. I mean, not running back. It's a quarterback run league.
Yeah.
I think it kind of leans towards that direction. I don't know. Lamar, to me, it's just that dual threat quarterback. He's an anomaly.
It's just, it would be strange, though, for the voters to be like, yeah, Joe Burrow is good enough to win MVP, or Lamar Jackson's the offensive player of the year, but he's not the MVP.
Well, that means he'd have more rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what I'd lean towards.
It would be very, very interesting. I've got Jahmyr Gibbs as my offensive player of the year.
It's not bad.
I'm a little worried that he's not going to get enough touches, but I think he might be in store for like a CJ 2K type season. Not saying he's going to get 2,000 yards, but where it's just like big play after big play, rushing, receiving in the screen game. Like I think Gibbs is in for a big year. I got him as my offensive player of the year.
A lot of all-purpose yards.
Right. Like CJ, again, I got blasted for saying that CJ's 2009 season might be the best running back season in NFL history. I mean,
he blasted for that.
Yeah, people were saying that it was a crazy take. He had 2,500 yards from scrimmage.
Yeah,
no one else has ever done that. I'm not saying it is. I said it may be. So I don't know. I think Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm not saying he's going to get 2,500 yards. I think he's going to be a big year and win offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year. Because the 49ers, I had them coming back. I think a lot of that's going to do with their defense. I got Nick Bosa winning the defensive player of the year.
Interesting. I have Aiden Hutchinson.
I was close, but I didn't want to double up on Lions.
Yeah, I felt that. Yeah.
I was, and they could double up on Lions, but I'm going with Nick Bosa. Offensive rookie of the year. This is the one that I know a lot of Titans fans out there probably want to hear. Mm-hmm. I have Cam Ward finishing second.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think Cam Ward is good, but not.
I think Cam Ward is in the conversation for offensive rookie of the year the whole time. I just think he comes up a little bit short because I think Emeka Egbuka for the Bucs is going to have a big year.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. I look at Amir Egbuka as that like third fiddle. It just solely depends on Chris Godwin's health.
Right. I just don't know. I think Evans, I know he's Mr. Steady, Mr. Consistent, but I just don't know if he's going to be the main focal point of that offense. And Godwin's not healthy right now.
Yep.
I think Egbuka is going to have a big year. He was my draft crush this year. And when the draft order got announced, I was like, Egbuka could be sitting there early second round for the Titans. And by the combine, that was a pipe dream.
Yeah.
I think he has a huge year. I think he edges out Cam Ward for offensive rookie of the year.
Interesting. I'm going chalk here. I'm going Ashton Jeanty. I just think that's you call it a safe pick, whatever you want to say. But I just think he's put into an established offense. You got Geno Smith. They got Jack Beck there now. Brock Bowers. Just a lot of young core pieces. And nonetheless, he looked pretty good in the preseason. If it wasn't Ashton Jeanty, I'd lean towards Amari and Hampton. Hampton's now running back too. I think that'll overlap as the season progresses because they said Najee missed preseason.
Yeah,
he'll be RB1, but I think he'll be surpassed by Hampton eventually.
And I'm a little worried about my Egbuka pick because they usually don't give it to pass catchers. Like Brock Bowers last year broke records.
Yeah,
multiple records. and they still gave it to Jaden Daniels, and rightfully so. But maybe Cam Ward doesn't have to do quite as much spectacular to win it. But I've got him finishing second. Defensive Rookie of the Year, I couldn't really think of anybody other than Abdul Carter to win this one. Like there's just not a whole lot of elite rookie talent on the defensive side of the ball this year.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see Travis Hunter just get a pop shot option at winning Defensive Rookie of the Year, but
yeah,
he's really going to have to be productive on both sides of the ball. And I think it's just too much of a workload in the NFL. I really do. And I don't, I mean, that's not my pick, but I just don't really know. Like you're saying, I'm not really too sure who's the best defensive guy out there.
Here are like the top contenders. Abdul Carter is a heavy favorite, actually. Jalen Walker from the Falcons, Travis Hunter, but I question how much Travis Hunter is going to play on defense and whether that will be enough for him to win Defensive Rookie of the Year.
What about Jahdae Barron?
Yeah, with the Broncos, that's as a corner, you got to put up a lot of picks probably, or sacks coming from the nickel for Barron. Maybe Mike Green from the Ravens is listed up there. Jihad Campbell from the Eagles, Mykel Williams from the Niners. It feels like Abdul Carter, if he just puts up 8 or 9 sacks, that might be enough to win it, unless somebody else comes out of nowhere.
I guess in my case, it would probably lean towards a Cincinnati player. Would Shamar Stewart, I guess, be a valid option?
Shamar Stewart had 4.5 sacks in 3 years in college. I kind of struggled to see him having.
I know, but like
10 sacks as a rookie.
I'm just saying for the storyline of my
of your 15-win Bengals team. Yeah,
I guess I could see that. But as for a realistic pick, I guess you go chalk with Abdul Carter, right?
That's kind of where I am. I wanted to be a little bit more buzzy with it and find an underdog, but it felt like a stretch to pick anybody but Carter. And I'm sure by like week 6, there usually is a defensive rookie who we don't talk about who comes up and has a huge year. So that's fully on the table. But if you're looking at who is a pure contender for it right now, Abdul Carter seems like the head and shoulders favorite.
Yeah, I'd have to agree to that.
All right. So that is our NFL predictions. I've got Chiefs over Lions in the Super Bowl. MVP Josh Allen, Jahmyr Gibbs Offensive Player of the Year, Nick Bosa Defensive Player of the Year, Emeka Egbuka Offensive Rookie of the Year, Abdul Carter Defensive Rookie of the Year. Nick Frazier going Chiefs over Commanders in the Super Bowl. He's got Joe Burrow as the MVP. Lamar Jackson is the Offensive Player of the Year. Aiden Hutchinson Defensive Player of the Year. Ashton Jeanty Offensive Rookie of the Year, and Abdul Carter Defensive Rookie of the Year.
That was pretty fair.
That was
pretty even.
That was fun. I'm glad we did that. It's all on the record now. And again, if we are completely off, we'll never hear of it again. But if the Vikings go 4-13, I will be fully expecting Nick Frazier to take a victory lap.
And if they don't, everybody has full authority to just either make fun of me or just send me a wonderful letter saying how wrong I was. One of the two.
4405 on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com, says Brock Bowers 6+ touchdowns this year. He had 5 with poor QB play last year. Yeah, I'm in on the Brock Bowers breakout year, if you want to call it that. He kind of broke out last year too, but yeah. I'm big on Brock Bowers this season too. So
yeah, I mean, you add the true run game with Ashton Jeanty, that really opens up a lot of stuff. I mean, not only just outside the exterior with the wide receivers, but that tight end play. I mean, that's just perfect.
I have a few more things to get to on our Titans predictions for this, so we will get to that coming up next. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. If you want to text or call, our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. This week, the Commodores travel to Blacksburg to take on Virginia Tech on Saturday. Pregame is at 5 o'clock. Kickoff is at 6:30. Vanderbilt football is brought to you by Gary Force Acura and Smoky Mountain Tops. And don't forget, we will speak to the voice of Vanderbilt football, Andrew Allegretta, coming up at the top of the hour. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly, next man up here on 102.5 The Game. Football is back today, and you can tune in for the NFL Game of the Week on ESPN 102.5 The Game as the Dallas Cowboys take on the Philadelphia Eagles tonight at 7:20 p.m. NFL Game of the Week is presented by Circa Sportsbook Kentucky and Macero in 12 South. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly alongside you here on Next Man Up 102.5 The Game. We just went through our NFL predictions for the season. I've got the Chiefs over the Lions in the Super Bowl. Nick has the Chiefs over the Commanders. 5496, want to give an update. He said he's been drinking since 7 a.m. and he thinks we beat him to it. We asked if he was celebrating. He says he's celebrating that. He's awesome. Congratulations.
Love that.
Great to hear that. Enjoying a nice Thursday morning celebration. Anyway, I had some thoughts on the Titans predictions. I had them 6-11. You had them 7-10.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it's about the range that everybody has them. I heard Robbie and Rex Road this morning. Joe had them 6-11. Robbie and Ian had them at 5-12. Anywhere from 5 to 8, I think, is a fair prediction. 8's probably a little high. 4 would be a little low, I think. I think it's 5, 6, or 7. That's probably about right. I'm looking at this schedule, and I said yesterday to Corey, if you can get out of the first 2 weeks 1-1, you feel great. You have them beating the Broncos.
I do.
On Sunday.
I do.
I don't feel confident about it, but you know, it's the NFL. Anybody can beat anybody. Some big games on this schedule for the Titans. I think this 3-week stretch from week 3 to week 5 versus the Colts, at the Texans, at the Cardinals. None of those games are, they're all winnable. They're all losable. I think the Titans will probably be underdogs on the road against the Texans and Cardinals. But if you could win 2 of those, that's a big stretch of the season.
Yeah.
I have them going 1-2. And then I think later on in the year, you could really make some headway in this stretch. Home against the Texans, home against the Seahawks, home against the Jaguars. 3 straight home games. Actually, 4 straight home games. I didn't realize how strange the Titans schedule is.
Mm-hmm.
They play the Chargers, Texans, Seahawks, and Jaguars all at home in a row. If you could get 2 or 3 wins there, and then you go to the Browns, that should be a win. I guess one of the rookies is starting at that point in the year. This is where you can build momentum for next year. Like, I think if the Titans want to be a 7 or 8 win team, those are the stretches where you have to pick up your wins. Because you're probably not going to beat the 49ers on the road. You're probably not going to beat the Chiefs. You're probably not going to beat the Broncos or the Rams. But if you can pick up some wins there, there's a chance you could get yourself at least close to the playoff picture in December, even if you're not actually within, I don't want to say striking distance, because they'd be within striking distance, but where it's not super realistic for you to actually make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think you got to compartmentalize the schedule in certain aspects like you're talking about. If you can find a good stretch in the second half, that'd be good. I mean, for me, looking at my schedule, I have it more of a momentum starting from week 1 into about, I think, week 5 or 7? Yeah, week 7.
Yeah, it's funny that you have them starting fast and finishing average.
Yeah,
I have them starting 2-7 and then going 4-4 down the stretch.
Yeah, see, I have them starting, honestly, 4-3 against the Pats. That's when they start losing. They start 4-2. They win in Vegas.
Wow.
Win in Arizona. I think when they come off that loss to Houston in week 4, because I think Houston's just above everybody else in the South. And normally I'd like to say they'd split.
Well, and the Titans did beat Houston in Houston last year.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, I agree. That game, the Texans are going to be the favorite.
Yes. And I think with Houston and the Titans, normally the Titans split a lot with, Indianapolis and Houston. And normally they kind of take care of business with Jacksonville. But to me, I just think Houston's above and beyond everybody else in the South this year. And so I think that loss kind of lights a fire under the Titans and say, you know what, our road trip, we're going to do something about this, get 2 back-to-back wins there. And then that's when everything starts falling off. The wheels start falling off. They come home to the Pats and they go on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losses in a row. And then they kind of pick it back up with the Jags. I have them losing to the Browns, though. I just think that's a tough place to play. It really is. I remember
it's going to be cold. That game is early December, I think.
Yeah.
But like, if it's Shedeur Sanders making his second or third start, or Dylan Gabriel making his second or third start, I just feel like that's a game the Titans should win if they're making the progress that they've hoped to this point in the season.
They should, right? I agree. There's something about Cleveland where the Titans always struggle. I mean, I think the only game that they really, I guess, took it out of
Was that week 1, 2019?
Exactly. And Kevin Byard had that pick 6. Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I think it was it Adam from Portland or somebody on our text line compared this week's week 1 in Denver to that game against Cleveland. And
Really?
I'm like, all right, well, the Titans weren't coming off being 3-14 the year before.
Yeah.
And the Browns were overhyped for what they did in the offseason, not for what they did the year before. Like the Broncos are being hyped up because they went to the playoffs with a rookie quarterback last year. The Browns were being hyped up because they traded for Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a different dynamic there. I don't know. It's one's bolstering, one's not bolstering. And then right after all those, after the Browns game, had them losing to San Fran, losing to Kansas City, and they finish out the year strong, I think. They go 6-10, they win against the Saints, and then they win their last game against the Jags.
There you go.
I think that's good enough.
Well, I had the Titans at 6-10 heading into the Jaguars game.
Okay.
So, and I think if you get to that point where you have 6 wins heading into the Jaguars game, that means you've shown some growth, whether that's coaching, whether that's Cam Ward, the offensive line, the defense. I think that means that you have shown progress throughout this season. But if you're 4-12 heading into that game and you're trying to salvage a 5-win season, that's when I think things start to get dicey for Brian Callahan.
Yeah.
I did want to point out the draft order.
Sure.
Because that, not that we want to start talking about the draft in September, but this year you want to show progress, but also a high draft pick is going to help this team, obviously, whether that is a trade chip to try and move back and get more pieces, or whether you can go get an elite pass rusher or wide receiver. So the cool thing about Playoff Predictors, it does sort the draft order for you after you put this out. So this has Browns, Saints, Giants, Colts, Jets is your top 5. There's an argument all 5 of those teams take a quarterback. Giants would be the one that I question a little bit because maybe Jackson Dart does enough that they feel like they can give him another year.
Yeah.
But all 5 of those teams could take a quarterback. The Dolphins could take a quarterback at 6. Raiders are 7. Titans 8. So you put yourself in a spot where maybe no one's wanting to trade up to get a quarterback. But if a bunch of those teams do take quarterbacks, because there are quarterback options in this year's draft, you could get yourself one of the best defensive players in the draft. I know safety is not a premium position, but Caleb Downs looks like he's going to be a superstar.
Yeah.
Ruben Bain for Miami looked awesome. Auburn's got a great pass rusher. I'm blanking on his name. Clemson has TJ Parker and the defensive tackle, Peter Woods. So there are a ton of options there. Titans can go 6-11, show some progress, and still end up with a top 8 to 10 pick that can get you a huge piece to grow this team heading into next year.
Would you be okay, again, trying not to talk about the draft, would you be okay if the Titans were to trade away that pick?
Yeah. I mean, if you can get good value for it.
Yeah.
Because the Titans need pieces at a lot of spots. Like you need a young wide receiver. You need a young pass rusher. You need a young cornerback. You'd like to add some depth on the offensive line, I would guess. Maybe you add a young tackle who can grow behind Dan Moore and hopefully be his successor.
Right.
Like you do need a lot of pieces. You probably need a running back next year. So trading back wouldn't be a bad idea if you can get somebody to give you good value.
Just I look at it from the perspective of, like you said, a lot of holes on this defense, but we were talking during the break about, just the lack of rookie defensive production, trying to figure out, those rookie of the year guys coming up this upcoming season. And you just wonder, well, there's got to be a lot of value in the next year's draft late in those rounds.
Yeah.
And also get some picks for 2027 while you're at it.
Right. Yeah. The next couple drafts are going to be huge for Mike Borgonzi and this front office trying to build up this roster. WB and Thompson Station on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com says, why will the Titans get better as the season progresses? The coaching staff is not made up of people that have a record of doing that. And we know unless Borgonzi is convinced Amy otherwise that you have to spend money during the season to pick up players here and there, which the Titans have a prime opportunity to do since they get the first pick. Waiver claims aren't going to cost Amy all that much money, first of all. And if you don't believe in the coaching staff, then they should have fired him, right? Like the team clearly believes that Brian Callahan can improve as a coach. And if they don't get better throughout the season, he's going to get fired. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying that I think with a young quarterback and a coach that's learning his job, they should get better as the season goes on. If they don't, then clean house on the coaching staff and bring somebody else in.
Yeah, you make a great point. If they wanted to move on from him, should have done it last offseason. And to that point as well, if Brian Callahan, I've said this multiple times, if he goes 1-4, 1-5, I see him out the door. I really do. I know it may seem premature, but
I know we make the joke of like if they're 1-5 heading into that Patriots game and Mike Vrabel blows the doors off him here, that he might lose his job. Will Amy do that? Like the optics of that would just look so bad.
It would, but I could also see her actually doing it. But here's the only catch to it all is that she's paying a lot of guys. She's paying J-Rob still,
Ran Carthon,
I mean,
Vrabel. Vrabel has a job now, so never mind.
I just look at it as like, if that were to happen, that means Chad Brinker, the immunity is off, right? It's got to be.
Yeah. Like you just wonder when does the buck stop with Chad Brinker?
Because he was all a part of the hiring process with not
everybody.
Yeah.
Except for Ran.
Yeah.
Ran hired him, but he hired Callahan. He's hired
Succeeded him.
Borgonzi. He's been part of all the decision making. He was the one. They've said that him and Borgonzi were the ones who negotiated that L'Jarius Sneed deal. I know obviously Ran Carthon was part of that too, but Chad Brinker does have to get some blame at some point, right?
Yeah.
I think Callahan's the one on the hot seat this year, but the next man in line has to be Chad Brinker, right? Like it's not Borgonzi, it's not Cam Ward yet. It's Callahan, then it should be Brinker.
Yeah. And if it's not Brinker, then I guess you skip him and go not Borgonzi, but then the following totem poles of all the guys they hired that were former GMs.
It just keeps working down the list.
It just makes no sense to me. I don't know.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. You can text or call. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Again, giving our Titans predictions here. I have them going 6-11. Nick has them 7-10. So I think everybody's kind of in that range. We'll see. The NFL is a weird world where somebody surprises you in a good way, somebody surprises you in a bad way. It's a long season. We will finally get our first look at the Titans in 2025 coming up on Sunday against the Broncos. We'll preview that game a little bit more later in the show. Andrew Allegretta going to join us at 11 o'clock to preview Vanderbilt's game against Virginia Tech. We will have plenty more coming after this. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly, next man up here on 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly with you this morning. NFL season getting ready to kick off this evening. And again, you can listen to Cowboys and Eagles right here on 102.5 The Game. Big weekend of college football coming up, too. College game day will be in Norman, Oklahoma, Michigan, Virginia Tech, Vanderbilt. Commodores are heading out to Blacksburg. We will have the voice of Vanderbilt football, Andrew Allegretto, for his weekly visit coming up in just about 10 minutes. I'm glad we have a little bit of time here, Nick, because I did want to touch on the NFL Red Zone news that there are going to be commercials.
Disgusting.
And I know a lot of people are blaming ESPN, and I think ESPN does have something to do with it, but I did see reports from a couple of like sports media insiders that said ESPN does not have creative control over NFL Red Zone, even though they bought the NFL Network and NFL Red Zone. Like the NFL media side of it still decides what happens. So it's their fault. ESPN may have played a role in it, but they did not make the decision. These people just don't seem to care about what the fan wants anymore.
No.
It's like, I get it. You got to sell things. And like, I was fine with the half screen ads and like all the sponsored stuff. Give me all the sponsored stuff. Here's our play of the day presented by blah, blah, blah. Do all of that. But full screen commercials. I mean, you've had Scott Hansen for, 15 years since it started? 7 hours of commercial-free football starts right now. And he can't say it anymore.
He can't. It just is going to be 7 hours of commercial football.
He said he said that he's going to lead in with 7 hours of red zone football starts now.
Oh,
Horrible.
That just hurts. That hurts to hear.
I would at least like it if there are going to be commercials. We have to live with it. There's nothing we can do. And I've kind of grown away from red zone a little bit. Like I watch the Titans game full when it's on. Obviously, it's my job.
Right.
And I'll watch it a little bit, especially when the Titans play in the early window and there's like 4 games on. Red zone kind of makes sense at that point. But I do love the witching hour. It is that time in the 1 o'clock hour of games when you've got like 6 1-score games, everything's coming down to the wire. Can we at least make the witching hour commercial free?
Yes.
I want that request out there.
I think that is a valid request, Jake, because you're at your own point of saying you're going to watch the witching hour, but you're also contemplating, do I go back for another burger? Do I go back for 4 more wings?
Yep.
And to enjoy the witching hour? Some people don't like to enjoy the witching hour with the food. I do.
I love a good NFL Sunday lunch. Like it's the best. Either you order something in, you go pick something up, you make some make some buffalo chicken dip or something like that. Oh, it's the best.
Yeah.
And no, I'm fine with it because there are times during red zone where
it gets stale,
especially in the late window where all the games go to commercial break or all the games are at halftime. Fine. Put some 3-minute commercials in there, whatever, but not during the witching hour. Yeah. Please, NFL media, don't make Scott Hansen toss to a commercial break when there are 3 games within 1 score and the team's in the red zone with 2 minutes left. Like, don't do it.
I just don't see how doing the double box doesn't fix this solution. Like one box has a commercial, the other one has the game. Like,
they did the split screen commercials and people didn't love it because, again, it's supposed to be 7 hours of commercial-free football. But at least having something else on the screen doesn't make it as much. And I understand advertisers aren't going to pay as much for half-screen ads.
Right.
That is the point of this, is that full-screen ads on red zone, that's valuable. Companies are going to pay a lot for it. So I get why they're doing it. Everything's about the money. But man, it's the end of an era, because that was when red zone first started I guess I was probably like 10, 11, 12, somewhere in there when it first started. And it's like, you get to watch all the teams at once. And like, I had a fantasy team for the first time and it was great. And it just feels like that part of life is gone now. No more commercial free football.
It's just like a part of your childhood away in the dust.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. At least they're keeping Scott Hansen. I think it would feel weird to have anybody else do that. I know Andrew Siciliano did the DirecTV one, the Sunday Ticket one, and I will always laugh because during college I bought the like student ticket.
It was like $50.
It was like $50, and you could get all the games, and you got their red zone, so you could quad box it. I would have like the Titans game. My roommate was a Cowboys fan. I'd have that one up there. We'd have one other game and red zone. And we kind of listened to red zone so we could hear what was going on. and Andrew Siciliano was the king of leaving his mic on. And he's a Browns fan. There was one play where there was a punt return against the Browns, and he just screams, "That's a block in the back!" And and he had to come on and address it. He was like, "Yes, that was me calling for a flag in the middle of that play." So I don't know if he's doing that anymore.
Bless his heart.
But yeah,
How
Scott,
do you guys feel about the Octobox?
Love it.
it's a little overstimulating. I'm glad they only do it for the kickoff. The quad box, I think, is as big as I can go.
Right.
Um,
I'm okay with the octo box if it's done right.
it's got to be for a short period of time.
yeah.
Because it's like I feel like I'm like trying to peer in, like I can barely see the football on any of these screens.
There was one time I was watching the octo box and it was like 8 teams in the red zone. I'm like, I'm gonna have to pass on this. Like that was
Yeah,
overstimulating.
it's
for sure.
it can be a lot. Anyway, Red Zone has commercials now. We got to live with it. I will probably not be watching as much Red Zone anyway, but it is tough. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to be joined by voice of Vanderbilt football, Andrew Allegretta. We'll preview Vanderbilt's game against Virginia Tech coming up this weekend. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly, next man up, 1025 The Game. Final hour on this Thursday. Next man up 1025. The Game. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly, broadcasting live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. We start off hour number 3 going to our phone lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, as we are joined, as we are weekly during the Vandy football season, by the voice of Vanderbilt football, Andrew Allegretta. Andrew, thanks again for coming on. Great win for Vandy over the weekend to start the season.
Yeah, what's up, Jake?
Doing well. Excited to get out to Blacksburg with you this weekend. Should be a fun one. I know that Charleston Southern, not exactly a world beater to start the season, but you win 45-3. What did you see from Vanderbilt that you think sets them up for back-to-back tough road games here early in the year?
Defensive execution. It's going to get difficult versus Virginia Tech and Kyron Cronin. It's going to get difficult first things first, but then second versus Lenora Sellers with Columbia. But one of the things that we talked about a ton on our broadcast right here on 102.5 The Game, Jake, was the fact that Vanderbilt executed defensively. Very little was busted from a coverage standpoint. They gave up 3 points, which in your back pocket, when you give up a field goal up 45-0 with 7 seconds to go in the game, like, number one, first and foremost, I guarantee you those guys are like, it's okay, we didn't stop them. But there's like a corner of their heart that's like, come on, man. Come on, you just kicked a field goal down 45-0. Again, it's like not bunting with a perfect game in the 8th or 9th,
Right.
but it is bunting with a perfect game like in the 5th maybe. So otherwise, they played great defensively. They forced a couple of turnovers. They didn't need anybody to have 10 or 15 tackles. Like, they just executed defensively. I think when you go on the road in difficult environments, if you can hold that true, if you can hold the defensive execution where it needs to be, like, that's at least going to push these games into the fourth quarter, and then we'll see where it goes.
On the other side of the ball, you mentioned to us last week about the excitement around the wide receiver position and some of the new additions there. Caleb Barnett, they showed that fly motion, and he had the touchdown on the little touch pass. They did it again later in the game. How important can he be, and how much of a weapon can he be in these next couple of games? Maybe not even with the ball in his hands, but just having shown these teams that, and maybe can play off of it against the Hokies and the Gamecocks.
Well, I think it's Caleb Barnett, Jake. I think it's Trey Richardson. I think it's the speed that they've shown offensively with those guys. I think they had decent speed last year, Jake. I don't know that they had Trey Richardson's speed. I don't know that they had Caleb Barnett's speed. Neither one of those guys are 6'4" and can go run like that and then jump for the football 40 yards down the field, but they are incredibly fast. They are, like, pushing world-class fast. The stat that we've given on Trey Richardson is the fact that he runs a 10.300 meter and Tyreek Hill runs a 10.1. So Trey Richardson is like just a tick slower than one of the fastest guys in the NFL. I think that bodes well as much as anything, because that's going to put the defenses that they're going to go up against like on their back heels a little bit. If you're geared up for that level of speed and all of a sudden you've got one wrong step, well, that's all you need offensively to pick up 5 to 10 yards or perhaps create an explosive play. And then within all of that too, Jake, is the guy that like we've almost not talked about enough because he's so good. Like, we're learning the new players, but Eli Stowers remains, like, in the best possible way, one of those freak level athletes with his size, his strength, and he can run with guys to an extent. He can run with guys like Caleb Barnett down the field and use that size. So there's a lot of offensive speed at the wide receiver and tight end position, which I think at least can create some chaos in the minds of opposing defenses.
Andrew Allegretta is with us here. Andrew Allegretta is with us here on Next Man Up with Jake Lyman. Andrew, kind of sticking with the offensive side of the ball, looking at the running back room, Cedric Alexander, just the run game in general. Obviously, last week, South Carolina held to 119 yards rushing. Vandy had 201. Do you see Vandy kind of striking the iron while it's hot and still using that variety of the run game? Or do you think it gets more 1 to 2 dimensional when it comes to Cedric Alexander and Diego Pavia?
I mean, that's a good question. I think you're coming off a Charleston Southern game in which, what Vanderbilt puts on tape is the smallest of slices of what they can do, what they intend to do, what is the best version of their offense. To Jake's point, like you showed that with Caleb Barnett. You showed that Diego Pavia could have an 80% completion percentage versus the Bucs going 20 for 25. He's done that before, but the way that he threaded the needle and kind of pushed the football into the gaps of the zone down the field or whatever it happened to be, trying to stretch the defense some. Not that he's never done it, but there appeared to be an elevation of his passing ability. So I think if anything for Vanderbilt, like they put enough variety on tape for these games against Virginia Tech versus South Carolina. I think when push comes to shove, it's like number 2 is going to have the football. Diego Pavia is going to have the football, and it's not it's not totally make it up as you go, but you're going to entrust this guy that knows the offense really well, who is just magical in the clutch to try to figure out what the best play in the moment is. So some of that might be Cedric Alexander. I mean, Cedric Alexander is going to be the primary running back unless something happens or physically he can't do it or whatever it is. But he's the primary running back. I think when push comes to shove, the run game is going to go through Diego Pavia. It's going to go through Cedric Alexander. And they are going to try to keep enough of a variety throughout the course of the season that Diego and Cedric stay healthy in games 10, 11, and 12, which were not the case last year.
Sticking with variety, going to the defensive side of the ball now, it's just looking at this Vandy defense and how they can just bring different, just aspects to the opposing team. With Kyron Drones back there throwing 2 interceptions last week, just what difficulties does this defense bring? You mentioned, everybody's all hats to the ball type thing early on in this segment, but it just seems to be that Drones is a big factor, not only in the air, but with his feet. And it's just Vandy's one of those teams that can do both.
Yeah, Drones will be interesting. I think what I noticed watching some of that South Carolina game with Virginia Tech is how willing they were to put the football in Drones' hands on like 3rd down and 2 and 3rd down and 3 and say, go run and get us the first down. Coach Lee talks a ton about improving their 3rd down percentages from a season ago because they weren't actually very good. It got rough, like versus Texas and LSU, and those teams are good. But to minimize Drones, Vanderbilt's success will come on 1st and 2nd down. Like if you're putting Drones, and he can pass, he's got a great arm. He's big, he's strong, he can be accurate, but like he can miss occasionally. And if Vanderbilt can find success on 1st and 2nd down and put Drones in spots where he's going to have to be more of the passer and his legs are a little bit less of a factor, that's where Vanderbilt can get after it. And they can use the pass rush of Nick Rinaldi or Miles Capers, who had the strip sack last week versus Charleston Southern. They can use some of that defensive line depth that they brought in through the transfer portal to get after Drones and just make them uncomfortable. So, I mean, that's kind of football 101, right, guys? But, success on 1st and 2nd down defensively is probably what will prompt Vanderbilt to have success through the whole game because they can leverage things in 3rd down.
Talking with Andrew Allegretta, voice of Vanderbilt football. Commodores taking on Virginia Tech on Saturday. Andrew, I know we've discussed this ad nauseum about how after last year, you don't mark wins and losses before the games are played because you just never know. But when you look at the schedule, this just feels like one of those games that Vandy has to win in order to get to where they want to be at the end of the year. Do you feel some urgency in the building heading into this game that they know, hey, we beat them last year, they're going to want some get back, and we've got to go in there ready to roll? Or does it kind of feel like just another game week?
I love you, Jake, right? Like, I love you. Like, I love the whole, like, hey, I know we talked about this exact thing not being true, but is this exact thing being true this week? I sense a team that is focused on success, and that is not coach speak. I felt a team at practice on Tuesday when I was able to get out there, just locked in on the team and the game in front of them. I don't. So much in, like, obviously you and I, Jake, know the Virginia Tech environment and the history there. And like, there's all this conversation about what it means for, Vanderbilt in the arc of a season, and then what's the environment like, and are you going to play against the 66,000, or are you going to play against the 11 in front of you? Like, I think Clark has done a pretty good job of boiling things down to, like, here are your brothers. You're going to step on the field with 10 of your other brothers. Can you execute the play that is called this down and then the next down? And then if you can do those things, all of the other nonsense around you tends to not matter quite as much. So I just sensed a pretty focused team on the mission in front of them. That doesn't mean it's going to go perfectly on Saturday, obviously. Like, you make a mistake early and 66,000 can jump on you pretty quick. And it's a good Virginia Tech team. Like, you can't afford mistakes stacking up on you. But I just get the sense of a team that's like, we're here for business. And I think that's a pretty notable change from Vanderbilt football, perhaps in the past 5 to 10 seasons.
Andrew, always appreciate you coming on. Excited for the game this weekend. Again, everybody out there can listen right here on 102.5. The game pregame at 5 and kickoff at 6:30. Andrew, I'll see you down there in Blacksburg.
You will. I don't want to chew up too much of your time, but, like, I know Vandy fans are going. Like, do you want to give them a recommendation of what they should do?
Oh, yeah.
In the hours leading up? Because you and I both know that town pretty good.
That is a good idea.
Hit them with a recommendation for all of our Vandy fans going to Blacksburg.
Yeah, Vandy fans, if you want to go out in Blacksburg, if you're traveling to the game, Andrew, correct me if I'm missing anything here. I would say good lunch spots, PK's, the Cellar. I'm trying to think of anything else kind of in that area. Sharky.
You do the downtown walk there, because
right,
you're going to get PK's, the Cellar, you're going to get Sharky's, you're going to get a bunch of stuff, Cabo Fish Taco in that walk area.
Yeah.
If you want to do quintessential, like, Blacksburgy bar thing,
Hokie House,
you can go to Tots. I'm partial to a restaurant called Lefties.
It's good.
It's a little bit down the road, but I'm a fan of that. And if you're floating through, like hit me up. I'm going to be floating through that town a little bit, trying to say hi to some folks. So I didn't want to eat up too much of your time, Jake, but I know plenty of Vandy fans are going. So there's a lot of choices to just kind of soak in the game day atmosphere on that downtown stretch, which, it's not Nashville. You can do that loop in about 3 to 4 minutes.
Yes, and for a lot less money too.
That's
so
right.
yes, I agree. Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate it. And if you're out there in Blacksburg, either find Andrew, find me. We'll be roaming around.
Take it easy, Jake.
Thanks, Andrew. Andrew Allegretta, voice of Vanderbilt football, joining us for his weekly visit. Commodores and Hokies coming up on Saturday night.
Man, I would like to go to Blacksburg now.
This
sounds like a food tour galore.
It is, just as Andrew said, it's your quintessential, like, college town. Like, it's like a 3-block stretch with 10 to 15 bars and restaurants. PK's, the Cellar. Those would be my 2 recommendations. I will likely be a patron at both of those restaurants over the next couple days.
What does PK serve?
PK's, if you go to PK's, you want wings and pizza. That is the go-tos there.
That sounds like a restaurant I would want to hit up.
Yeah,
personally.
The Cellar is more like your sandwiches, pizza, calzones, like that kind of place. If you want a good burger, Sharky's, that's kind of where you go. Hokie House. We're just giving Nashville a tour of Blacksburg for the few people out there listening who might be there this weekend. So if you do, there are your recommendations. Again, appreciate Andrew coming on. 5 o'clock pregame, 6:30 kick, Vanderbilt and Virginia Tech on Saturday night, right here on 102.5 The Game. We'll take a quick break. We'll talk a little more Vandy football on the other side. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. There you go. Got some dynamite coming back. Vandy hitting the road for the first time this season, taking on Virginia Tech and Blacksburg on Saturday night. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Great time chatting with Andrew Allegretta as always. You can listen to him right here on The Game when the Commodores and Hokies square off Saturday night. We were given our Blacksburg recommendations. I was wondering if anyone out there was listening to take them. Philip from Murfreesboro says there's more of us than you might think. Thanks for the recommendations. See you in Blacksburg. There we go. So at the very least, my recommendations hopefully helped Philip out for his trip.
I mean, when I go sometime, that's where I'll be
All
going.
it's got to do is help one person. So yeah, PK's the Cellar, Hokie House, Tots, Sharkies. That's the core five, I would say.
You know, you being the Blacksburg guy, are you going to be signing autographs when you get there too? Like, what's the deal with that?
So it is funny. I hosted a podcast when I was in college, and it was moderately popular among Virginia Tech fans.
Uh-huh.
Like it was called the Tech Sideline Podcast, and I hosted it for 2 years. And I tell my fiance every time we go back to Blacksburg, I say, just warning you, like somebody's going to come up to me and say something. And she laughed at me the last time we were there. And we get into Lane Stadium, and like no more than 5 minutes in, somebody comes up. It's like, oh my God, Tech Sideline Podcast.
You're Jake Lyman.
The Virginia Tech community is like, it's
close knit.
Like everybody kind of follows the same thing. So it is funny though. Like I'm not a celebrity by any means when I go into Blacksburg, but there always are 2 or 3 people throughout a weekend who recognize like, oh, I don't remember your name, but I remember I used to watch you on the podcast.
Well, I mean, I guess Jake Lyman's going to have to give the update when he comes back.
Yeah. I'll let you know.
Sign 3 autographs.
No one ever asked for an autograph. I'll tell you that. It's more just like, hey, I recognize you. And they usually don't remember my name, but anyway.
They may take a picture with you this time.
Excited to head back down there. And if any Vandy fans are out there, I promise you, even though I went to school at Virginia Tech, I will not be wearing Virginia Tech stuff. So if you see me, be sure to come say hi. Vandy going into game 2, coming off a big win against Charleston Southern, big win in terms of, margin,
right.
A good tune-up game for them. This is a big stretch for them. And I said it with the Titans with weeks 1 and 2 with the Broncos and the Rams. If you get out of it 1-1, I think you feel good.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of how you feel with Vanderbilt. If you can win one of these next 2 games on the road against, South Carolina, obviously a better team than Virginia Tech, I think you feel pretty good going 2-1 coming back home for Georgia State and Utah State.
Yeah. I mean, going into this Virginia Tech game, and Andrew alluded to it, just the whole Kyron Drones, when Virginia Tech would pick and choose when to use him, like to run. I think that is so key. Obviously, he went on first and second down, like he was saying, but that is so key to just stop him when they actually choose for him to run like a design run, because that eliminates the other portion of their offense. Then that solely relies on him having to throw the ball. Nonetheless, he had 2 interceptions, like I mentioned last segment. So if Vandy can force Drones to have turnovers, especially in a very, I'd say, hostile environment in some regard, it'll be difficult for Vandy.
It's a very interesting game. And I think that's why I was looking at the odds a little bit. Like Vegas is kind of lost on this. Virginia Tech opened as a 3-point favorite. It's moved back towards to a pick 'em. Like Vandy is the better team on paper.
Yeah.
Like I think if you just lined them up and said our best 22 against your best 22, Vanderbilt's the better team. But there is some get back, as I mentioned with Andrew. Like the Hokies were a dark horse playoff contender last year heading into the season. Everyone was kind of like, man, could Virginia Tech be back? And they lose to Vanderbilt week 1, and it threw their season off the rails. Also, those coaches are coaching for their jobs. Like Brent Pry and Virginia Tech, he might have one of the hottest seats in major college football right now.
Mm.
Like I would look around. I don't know if there's a whole lot of power conference coaches out there who are coaching for their job more than Brent Pry is. It's a big game for them. I think Vandy is the better team, but it's in Blacksburg, and there's a lot of motivation. Not that there isn't motivation from Vanderbilt. Like everybody wants to go win the game, but there's some desperation from Virginia Tech. I think it's going to be a really good game. If I would pick Vanderbilt, but I think it's going to be a good game that comes down to the fourth quarter.
I could see that. I really could. I lean more towards the Virginia Tech aspect of all this because it's a home game for them. You've experienced that environment. I just think environment's going to play a big factor into this, especially Pavia's played on the road in the SEC when he was at New Mexico State, now playing for Vanderbilt. I think this just brings a different vibe. I think this is something Pavia's never seen before. And it's going to be, I'd say, a little bit of a hiccup in the first quarter, maybe first half.
Yeah.
And maybe they catch on in the second half and get things straightened out. But I see a big challenge for Vanderbilt coming up this game. I really do.
I think it's going to be very similar to the game here last year. Like, that one went to overtime. I'm not going to project overtime, but I think it's going to be a game where either Kyron Drones or Diego Pavia gets the ball with 4 minutes left, needing a score, go try and win the game. Yeah. And we'll see which team stands up. But I think it's going to be a really fun one. On a weekend where there isn't a ton of great games, I kind of hate that it's at the same time as Michigan, Oklahoma, because you look around the rest of college football, a lot of teams are playing their like gimme games this week. But Michigan, Oklahoma is at 6:30 on ABC. This game is at 6:30 on the ACC network, I think. And I would have loved for this to maybe be like your 3:30 game.
Just to get you spruced up ready for that
late
slate.
It just, when there's only a couple of power conference games, like you got Oklahoma State, Oregon this weekend, Ole Miss, Kentucky, which I would have been fine. Like Ole Miss, Kentucky, Virginia Tech, Vanderbilt, put them on the same time slot. Like that gives you two good options to watch. But
hey, watch out for my Bulldogs, by the way. I'm just saying.
Who do they have this weekend?
Arizona State.
Ooh, that's a fun one.
In Starkville.
That's a fun one.
Heard Adam Vingen yesterday.
That's at 6:32.
I know. Yeah.
Why are we putting all the good games this weekend at the same time?
I don't know. I guess there's not a lot going on during the day, or maybe they don't want.
Yeah. I mean, you've got like Florida USF, which should be a fun-ish game. Like I think Florida wins by a lot, but like USF looked good against Boise State. And then the games I mentioned earlier in the day, like Ole Miss, Kentucky's at 2:30. Same with Oklahoma State, Oregon. Austin P, Georgia.
Hey,
could the Govs pull off an upset for the second straight week?
Hey, Parsons a good quarterback, by the way, for Austin P. That was a Ravenwood kid.
Yeah.
Actually was committed to Mississippi State. But
we'll see. They're going down to Athens, so we'll see if maybe they can keep that one close for a little bit longer.
They're a team to be reckoned with in the FCS, man.
They are.
Really
they are. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. If you want to text or call, our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Going to finish off the show talking some Titans because I am off tomorrow. I want to get my final thoughts on Titans Broncos in week 1 coming up in these final couple of segments. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. That was Cam Ward asked about what do you do if they take Calvin Ridley out of the game plan? Where else do you go with it? I thought it was a good answer from Cam Ward that, hey, Calvin Ridley, stopping him easier said than done, but he's got other options out there. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. That is one of the things that I think my focus will be on Sunday. There's a lot of things that I really want to see for the first time in live game action. The offensive line, Cam Ward, obviously. But I think it's the secondary playmakers that I really am interested to see who steps up. Because this offense has the chance to take a pretty big step from being like 27th in scoring, 29th in yards, something like that last year.
To be in the high 20s.
Right.
Like
you
20,
could
21.
get yourself to being an average to above average offense, but you got to have options behind Calvin Ridley. And like Cam Ward said, Calvin Ridley's probably going to get his, even if Surtain's following him around. He's still going to get a couple of catches and he'll be a part of the offense. But you do need Tyler Lockett or Alec Iamaner or Gunnar Helm, Chigakonkwo. Somebody else has to step up on those third downs when they're going to say, hey, we're going to let anybody but Calvin Ridley beat us. And I want to see who's going to step up for the Titans on Sunday.
I found it interesting in that clip, Jake, that when Cam Ward was listing off the players, maybe a coincidence, whatever, he listed off Gunnar Helm before Chigakonkwo.
I
you
really
find that telling?
The way Corey Curtis talked about Gunnar Helm yesterday, and again, I haven't been out at practice. Usually they're practicing during the show. So I only get to hear what those guys see. But Corey was raving about Gunnar Helm, saying like, man, he could be second on the team in catches this year. I really do think Gunnar Helm is going to be a big part of this offense.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. There's something about Chigakonkwo that's not clicking for him. Nonetheless, he's probably being outperformed by Gunnar Helm. And I just think when you have a rookie on rookie, call it rookie on rookie crime, however you want to look at it, that's what you need. I think you're building good, clean chemistry from the start.
And that is if Gunnar Helm ends up being, and he doesn't have to be a star tight end, but if he can end up being a starting level tight end, a guy who you would pick in your fantasy drafts, I guess you would say, like that's kind of the definition of a tight end who's quality, a guy who ends up being a starting tight end in the fantasy league.
Yeah.
If he can be that, that's a huge hole that you don't have to worry about anymore. Like, yeah, you want some depth behind him, but that's safety blanket for Cam Ward. How important was Delaney Walker to Marcus Mariota early on? Vital, crucial. Pretty much every big moment in the first 2 years of Marcus Mariota's career was when he was thrown to Delaney Walker. So I think that Gunnar Helm could be a key cog to the Titans' progress. Sunday's going to be interesting. This is a really good Denver team. I know Dre Greenlaw didn't practice yesterday. I don't know if he's going to be ready to go. I think it's a quad issue that he's dealing with. So we'll see if he's out there. I would guess he would be part of the solution to stopping the tight ends for the Titans. Yeah. So maybe Gunnar Helm can have himself a day.
I just found it interesting because on the Titans website, their depth chart lists off from first to second. Chigakonkwo as the first string.
Yeah.
And Gunnar Helm at second. And then Cam Ward saying vice versa. Again, could have rolled off his tongue differently, whoever.
I think they're going to be used in different ways. So, I think the snap counts for them probably are going to be about equal, but it's just about where they're going to line up and how many targets they get. Yeah. So, we'll see with Gunnar Helm, but I think that is Helm, Iamaner, Lockett, DK, even Van Jefferson. I think that group, Bryce Oliver, how does that group step up if Patrick Surtain and this Broncos defense basically says, we're going to wash Calvin Ridley out as much as we can? Somebody else has to step up. And I'm interested to see who that is. I mentioned it early in the show. That injury report today can't come out soon enough because you feel so much better about this offensive line, the starting five, based on the investment they've put into it. And what we've seen in the preseason and training camp so far, there really haven't been a whole lot of concerns. Dan Moore has looked good. Skoronski's looking like he's ready to take the next step. Cushenberry's getting healthy. Zeitler is Zeitler. He's at this point in his career, you have to just trust that he's still going to be the guy he's been.
Right.
And J.C. Latham looks like he's going to take another step at right tackle. He's gotten in shape. But if Dan Moore's not out there and you got to put Ali Udoh at left tackle for Cam Ward's first start of his career. That changes this game in a hurry.
Grab your rosary beads because you don't want your franchise quarterback going down early, in week 1. I mean, that just throws all the expectations out the window.
Yeah, I think based on the silence around it, like there really hasn't been much talk about him not being at practice. Nobody's raised any alarm bells. I think it's probably more cautionary. I think he'll be on the field today. But again, I said it to start the show. If he's a DNP for the second straight week or second straight day, you might be in trouble. You might be in trouble.
Gotta start turning some heads.
L'Jarius Sneed, no surprise, was limited in practice yesterday. I would guess he will be limited again today and probably Thursday or Friday, and he'll be questionable for Sunday's game.
Yeah, for me, L'Jarius Sneed, and I've said this multiple times throughout the last couple of weeks, but for him to get back into football shape, I think the Titans are using week 1 to week 3 as a professional preseason. I air quote that because that's, I feel like, how they're going to manage him, just to get him back to ramp up to that football shape.
Yeah.
Do I think he'll be the L'Jarius Sneed of old? Probably not, but I do think he'll be serviceable. I think that's all you can really.
Yeah.
And just be a serviceable corner.
Defensively, the eyes on Sunday are going to go to the interior of the defensive line. Is Big Jeff, slim down Big Jeff, is he a game wrecker like you expected him to turn into a couple years ago? Is T'Vondre Sweat in football shape enough to be out there a lot? And is L'Jarius Sneed a capable cornerback? Lots of questions for Sunday. And they could all work out. And Adam in Portland texting in, he says, Jake, Titans 17, Broncos 14, tighten up.
Wow.
If the Titans do win on Sunday, I bet it's a score like that. Like where the defense looks good, Bo Nix maybe makes a couple of mistakes, Titans are able to do enough to get a win. Low scoring. I want to say like the Titans' last 4 games against the Broncos, no one scored more than 17 points. So I would guess it's going to be pretty low scoring. If I had to make a pick, I would say it ends up being like Broncos 24, Titans 16, where you get 1 touchdown in the red zone. Maybe you struggle to get it into the end zone. You have to kick a couple of field goals. Maybe Joey Sly hits a 78-yarder like he was talking about yesterday.
That'd be crazy.
I think it's like touchdown, 3 field goals, and Bo Nix makes enough plays down the stretch, the offense, and they win 24-16. That'd probably be my pick.
I'm in the realm of 16-13 Titans. Like I'm not too far off from Adam in Portland. I just think both teams get to 10 points and then it becomes a kicker duel.
Yeah. Yeah. It is exciting to finally have a real game to talk about.
Yeah.
Because even last year, the games towards the end of the season didn't matter. Like me and TD did Jake and TD every Friday during the Titan season. It's like just filling an hour trying to preview a game when the Titans are 3-11. It's like, man, what matters in this game?
Who's coming off the practice squad?
It's good to know because again, it's the NFL. Everybody's 0-0, and this league is built for everybody to have a chance. It is nice to have a game that actually matters coming up on Sunday.
Yes.
3:05 kickoff Central Time. Titans and Broncos in week 1. Adam in Portland taking the Titans. He's been on me all week. Called me a Broncos fan on Tuesday.
Saddle up, Jake.
I think TD set him pretty straight though.
Yeah, TD had himself some words for Adam there. 9013, if I can get the text line to load, says there's no way the Titans win. Is there? Question mark. There's a way. There's a will. There's a way. For sure. It's the NFL. I keep saying that. Like, this isn't college football. This isn't Mercer playing Alabama. Like, the Titans are a professional football team with talented players on the roster. They can win this game. I would say based on these 2 rosters, it's unlikely they win this game on the road in Denver. But they could do it. They could do it. Adam in Portland says, it feels like it's been a 10-month offseason. Amen. It has been a long time coming since the Titans have played meaningful football. They will do it on Sunday. Excited for it. I will be back on Monday, so I'll have everything for you. Connor and Nick are going to be in tomorrow. So Nick Frazier will be joined by Connor Newt from 9 to noon. and they'll get you all ready for Titans and Broncos. We do have one more segment today. We're going to preview the weekend around the NFL coming up next to wrap up the show. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. The final segment of the show during the NFL offseason is upon us. We have NFL football tonight. Cowboys and Eagles. You can listen to it right here on 102.5 The Game. 7:20 kick between the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. Big weekend of football. We just went through Titans and Broncos. A lot to get into there. I mean, the Broncos are a good team. They're a playoff team.
Yep.
Good defense. Titans Going to go try and upset them, get to 1-0 on the year. That's coming up 3:05 Central on Sunday. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly wrapping up the show. Chasing Big Joe coming up right after us. The rest of the weekend, I know they do this with week one, but there's a lot of really good games this weekend. You look, not only game tonight, game tomorrow night, Chiefs-Chargers. And the Chargers, they fool me every year. Every year I look at that roster and I say, man, if they just stay healthy and put it together, they could be in the Super Bowl conversation. And it never works out for LA. But big one against Kansas City down there in Brazil tomorrow night.
Yeah, Brazil, I'm intrigued to see how these teams kind of react to the long flights and just all that. Playing in Brazil, I get it. It's going to be a different weather. It's going to be a little bit more chillier because how the
Southern
axis,
Hemisphere.
Yeah, all that stuff. But yeah, I just think the Chargers, they got to figure things out. I don't know if it's Justin Herbert's fault. I mean, they're surrounding them with key pieces. They got Trey Harris now. They got that Lambert guy from the preseason.
Yeah.
They kept him on the roster.
Yeah.
I mean, they got guys. I just don't know how they don't produce.
Yeah.
Amari and Hampton's on the team now.
Chargers, they got the roster. They did lose Rashawn Slater, their starting left tackle, had to flip Joe Alt over to left tackle, which we'll see how that works out. But I think that'll be a fun game tomorrow night. Last year's Brazil game was fun too. Jordan Love looked like he might have had his season come to an end. It ended up not being quite as bad. Malik Willis had to be the starter. We know how that ended up. Other big games this weekend. I didn't even remember that the NFL did this because they released the schedule before Aaron Rodgers officially signed.
Mm-hmm.
But Aaron Rodgers' return trip to New York in week one.
Really?
Steelers-Jets.
Well, I mean, he didn't have really much for the Jets. I mean, you call it a reunion, sort of.
Is that the Sunday night game?
No, that's noon. That's
noon.
Early window.
Right off the bat.
Not a ton of great games in the early window. Bucks-Falcons should be good. I mean, that's the two best teams in the NFC South. But like Bengals, Browns, Panthers, Jags, Giants, Commanders, like there's not a whole lot of great games in that early window. But you look later on, Lions, Packers, 3:25. Packers with Micah Parsons, yet to be known for sure whether he's going to play.
Yes, will he play?
Will he play? But those are the two favorites in the NFC North. Texans, Rams, two playoff teams. Then Sunday Night Football, Ravens, Bills. Rematch of that great AFC divisional round where Mark Andrews dropped the 2-point conversion late in the game. They've loaded up this week one slate.
They really have. I think the Seattle-San Francisco game for me is going to be something to watch just because I was talking about JSN and that whole just high-octane offense they have now with Cooper Kupp and both the running backs and two tight ends that are young. So I just think it's a team that has a lot to prove. And so a team that San Francisco, they have to prove that those old veterans can still play along with Seattle, see if they can get all their pieces put together and can those really work. So there's a lot to, I guess, mix out with the kinks, fix the kinks.
And heading into week one, you always have to make the reminder to everyone out there that week one is a liar sometimes. Yeah. Last year, the Saints put up like 47 points in week one. And actually, they look good in week two, too. And everyone's like, wow, the Saints have come out of nowhere. And then they regressed and ended up just being a meh team this year. So week one results always get overblown because it's the only data point we have to go off of. Week one doesn't always tell you the truth about what a team's going to be. But we are getting a lot of marquee matchups, a lot of them like in division, which is big. Look at the Monday night game, Vikings-Bears. I know you're probably on the Bears to win like 56-0 because you hate the Vikings, but
just Vikings going 4-13 this year, man. I don't know what else to say. I'm just not high on JJ McCarthy. I haven't seen much from the guy, and you could say I'm being negative towards him, but I wasn't high on him when he came out of Michigan either.
I'm not that high on JJ McCarthy. I just think that roster and the coaching staff is good enough if he's just an average quarterback to be 8, 9, 10 win team.
I was with you, Frazier, but then I look at who's coaching him.
Yeah.
Who's coaching
It's
him?
Kevin O'Connell.
Kevin O'Connell. He fixed Sam Darnold. So that's my only thing. But I was with you. I wasn't high on him either coming out of Michigan.
Kevin O'Connell has earned our trust, but that'll be a good Monday night game, and we'll be able to preview that coming up next week. But it's a fun week one slate. I think the game I'm most looking forward to has to be Ravens-Bills.
Yeah.
Like Sunday Night Football, I will be driving back Sunday and hopefully getting back just in time for the Titans game. But that'll be a nice evening. Get back and just get to settle in, watch the Titans play, and then watch Ravens Bills right after. I'm very much looking forward to that.
Injected into my
Maybe
veins.
pick up some food. You know,
There you go.
enjoy some Sunday night after
Whopper,
6 hours of
Whopper.
drive. Whopper. Yeah, no red zone.
Yeah.
Don't want the Whopper commercials. We did our NFL predictions. If you missed them earlier, I have Chiefs over Lions in the Super Bowl. Frazier has Chiefs over Commanders.
Yes.
He's big on the Jaden Daniels. Doesn't like JJ McCarthy.
No.
Likes Jaden Daniels. I have the Titans going 6-11. Nick has them 7-10.
Yep.
Parker, what's your Titans record prediction?
7-10. I
7-10?
feel good with that number. I think Will Levis lost this team 3 games single-handedly by himself. If you don't have those stupid boneheaded turnovers, I think that improves his team by at least 3 wins. So 6-11 is probably safe, but I'm feeling 7-10.
Okay. Yeah. So we as a show today are higher on the Titans than Robbie and Rex Road by about a win. So
Okay.
if you average them all out, Parker, I wanted to ask your Super Bowl prediction too. We should have gone to you on this too, but before we get out of here,
I'm going Bills and Eagles.
Bills and Eagles. Okay. So only one that doesn't have the Chiefs going back, which if I'm picking just purely based on the team, I don't think the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC, but there's some voodoo magic going on, and I can't pick the Chiefs until somebody proves or pick against the Chiefs until someone proves they can beat them.
The NFL storyline, I feel like it's already been written. The storybook creators, the script writers, they already have it printed out, Jake. It's on the desk. right?
One of my friends texted me. There was like a spreadsheet, and I'm sure this is just somebody made it up, but he was like, the script got leaked. It had the Titans going 3-14 again. So, if that is real, we're in for another long season.
Oh boy.
Fun show today. Went through our NFL predictions. Again, the NFL season starts tonight. Cowboys and Eagles coming up 7:20. You can listen right here on 102.5 The Game, TV on NBC. Titans and Broncos coming up on Sunday. I am out for the rest of the week. I will be back on Monday. Connor and Nick in tomorrow. I'm sure they will have some great Titans insights, some great reaction to Cowboys and Eagles. So make sure you tune in for that. Excited for this Vandy Virginia Tech game too. I mean, I know Monday when I come back, it's going to be almost exclusively Cam Ward reaction, Titans reaction, but I'll have to sneak in some reaction to what I think is going to be a really fun game between the Hokies and Commodores too.
Load up with the good food on Friday night.
Yes. Yeah. PK's, Cellar.
There you go.
I'm ready. I'm ready to go. That'll just about do it for us. Again, Connor and Nick are in tomorrow here on Next Man Up from 9 to noon. Chase and Big Joe are coming up next here on 102.5 The Game.